Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome to this masterclass with Vinh Giang. I'm not Vinh, obviously. I'm Dan, obviously not Vinh. I will be your moderator for today. So great to see you all. I'm just going to take 2 minutes of your time to let you know how we're all going to work things through today. So before we jump in, so awesome to see so many people from all over the world, and happy birthday to Drew and also, I think it's Moises, I think. Happy birthday. Let me know, where are you tuning in from? Please let me know in chat. Let's see if this works. Is it registering yet? Not yet. That's okay. We'll try that another time, maybe when Vin comes on. But hey everyone, loving the great positive vibes in chat. I know chat's going a little bit crazy right now, so if it gets a little bit distracting, feel free to turn it off. Under the chat setting, you'll see a show chat previews button. Feel free to untick that. That way you don't get everything. Now, if there's one main rule to this masterclass, it's this. Please keep things positive in chat. We're all here to have a good time and to learn. So, hey, any spam, any hate, any nastiness, just letting you know that will result in an immediate ban from our vigilant moderation team, all right? Now, if you've got any questions, feel free to post them in Q&A because we'll try to answer where we can. And hey, we want you to get the most out of this experience. So please try not to be distracted, put away your phones, put away your children if you can. We want you to lean in and get the most out of this experience. Now, I'm a little biased, but I would say that Vin is probably the best communication coach in the world right now. And I know because I've learned under him. So if you're here to learn how to wield your voice better, be more impactful in your communication, or just connect better with others, you're in the right place. Now, final thing before I throw over to Vin, a lot of people always ask, is this live or is this pre-recorded? Well, I'm here to say, we are most definitely live. We're not going to pre-record. And the reason for this is because if you've chosen to turn up for yourself here today, well, Vin, myself, and the rest of the stage team, we're going to turn up live to make sure we're here for you too. So with that said, hope you have fun. Hope this kickstarts your journey of unlocking your communication potential. And I'll throw over to Vin. Have a good one.
Hello, hi everyone, good to see you all. I love that when Dan called everyone to type where they're from, so many people were typing. I'm from Texas, we've got people from all over America, all over Australia, even in Adelaide, all over Asia, and someone just said, it's the man himself. And hey, look, like Dan said, if you're gonna show up for you, we wanna show up for you too. We don't wanna do this whole pre-recorded thing. Sometimes people get a little bit lazy. I love teaching. I absolutely love teaching, so I'm more than happy to be here live for you all. So just to have a little bit of fun, what word would you like me to say? Can I type it in the chat? And I'll see what that common word is. Cucumber! I see cucumber, there you go. Any other words you'd like me to say? And then I'll see what the common thing, the chat's just going crazy, Dan. But I'm gonna see one, and I see chicken namaste, I see banana, I see pineapple, and we can stop it there. All right. So look, great to see you. So good to have you. Thank you for being here. I want to call out a couple of things immediately with you all. The first thing I want to call out is that one of the most powerful traits that I've been able to develop is showing up. That's right, showing up. And I've got to tell you that some of the things I have in my life right now, I have them because I showed up. For example, I'm doing what I love. And how did I find what I love? Well, I showed up every day exploring and experimenting. I have a beautiful relationship with my wife. Well, how do I have this? Well, I show up every day, communicating with her. Even at times when things are difficult to talk about, we talk about it. And I think about all of my beautiful friendships I have, Dan included, right? I have all these beautiful friends around me and they treat me so well and I feel so grateful for that. But why do I have that? It's because I show up for my friends when they need me most. And then I think about, well, what about the online business I have? Well, it's because I show up every day and I create content. Showing up is one of the key traits that I've learned to develop. And I share this with you simply because you've done the same thing. You've shown up for yourself, and that's why my team and I are showing up for you. We want to be here for you. And I'm so excited with the masterclass that we've got planned for you. And I want to call out another thing as well. Learning communication skills is scary. Most people are afraid to learn this skill set. Most people are more afraid of public speaking than they are skydiving, right? And you have to understand something. I have to dispel a myth here. Some people think to themselves, well, I don't do any public speaking, Vin, so I don't need to learn this. You're wrong. You're wrong. And I'll tell you why you're wrong. You're wrong simply because you don't have to be on stage to publicly speak. Any single time you speak in public, that is public speaking. That is public speaking. Anytime you open your mouth in public, whether it's one person or 10 people or 100 people, that is a form of public speaking. Because most people are afraid of public speaking. Because most people think it doesn't apply to them. This is one of the main reasons why people never improve their communication skills. It's one of the reasons why they don't show up. And I can tell you right now in the world, in 2024, moving forward, learning how to communicate effectively is a competitive advantage. This is a skill that most people lack. This is a skill that most people don't show up with and they don't improve. So as you improve this skill set, it becomes a competitive advantage for you. If you're here because you feel invisible, if you're here because you feel like you're not able to articulate the value that you have when you're in a job interview, if you're here because you don't feel confident, or if you're here because you know, and you know if I'm speaking to you, you already know that a lack of communication skills is holding you back. If you're here for any of those reasons, I want you to know you're in the right place. I am not good at a lot of things. There are many things I'm not good at. But when it comes to communication, I've dedicated my life to learning and mastering this skill set. Many of you may not know this about me, but English is my third language. The first language I learned was Dijiu, which is a Chinese dialect. Vinh là người Việt Nam, right? And the second language I learned was then Dijiu, which was a Chinese dialect. So the first one was Vietnamese, second one is a Chinese dialect. Or si Dijiu Nang. And then the third language I learned was English. So I know the struggles of not having great communication skills. I understand it. So just know you're in the right place, and I'm super excited for you. Because as we begin this journey, you are going to learn how to communicate more effectively to amplify the best parts of you. Even though in my life, communication started as a disadvantage, it's now become my competitive advantage, and it can be for you too. As we begin our journey together, I want to bring you into the world of magic. Because if you didn't know this, I'm actually part magician. Yes, I'm a bit of a mixed breed. I'm part magician, and I want to bring you into the world of magic because I believe in experiential learning. So join me in the world of magic as we begin our time together. So in the world of magic, being part magician, I was first taught by my early mentors who were magicians. They taught me this. They taught me that, Vin, if you want success in your life, well, then you have to focus on one thing, and one thing in particular, and that's technical, SKE, which stands for, and write this down, technical SKE stands for what? Technical skill, technical knowledge, and technical experience. And they said to me, Vin, if you become proficient, if you become masterful with your technical skill, knowledge, and experience, you'll become wildly successful. So I did this. I spent thousands of hours on my sleight of hand. And I want to show you what technical skill, knowledge, and experience looks like in the world of magic. Remember, I believe in experiential learning. So let's experience it. So I want to show you what thousands of hours of technical skill looks like. We're going to switch cameras and be a little bit fancy. Hello, Elijah from Brisbane. All right, let's change cameras. Here we go. All right, so a little bit fancy. Hello, still me. I don't know if you can see me, but hello. I'm going to show you what technical skill looks like alone. So first of all, I'm going to show you all the cards are different. Okay, so if they're all the same, the trick would be crap. But all the cards are different. 4 aces on the table. I'm going to take the 4 aces, and we're going to lose them into 4 different places. First one, second one, third one, fourth one. 4 aces, 4 different places. I'm going to push them all in. If you were here, I'd let you shuffle them, but because you're not, I'll shuffle them for you. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just doing this as fairly as I can because you're watching me very closely. To find all the cards now is technically a nightmare. But I'm going to show you what technical skill looks like alone. This is a demonstration of just technical skill. It looks like this. You see, this took thousands of hours to learn. It took so many hours, it's outrageous. And I remember thinking to myself, why am I not more successful? I spent thousands of hours learning this. And thank you for saying the wows. I appreciate you all before. This is really, really kind of you. Thank you. And I spent thousands of hours doing this. And I could not understand why I wasn't becoming more successful. I just couldn't understand why. And then I realized that, there was one ingredient that I was missing. I was missing one key ingredient. And the key ingredient that I was missing, in the world of magic, magicians call it showmanship. Showmanship. And showmanship basically is a fancy word for communication skills. Communication skills. That's what magicians call it. And that's what I was missing. And if you think about this, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because let's say, for example, my technical skill, let's rate that at a 10 out of 10. Say I was 10 out of 10, brilliant with my technical skill. However, if my communication skills were a 3 out of 10, do you think people perceive me to be a 10 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10? And the reality is, I was only as good as I was able to communicate. And it was so frustrating because, again, I put into the hours and the time to get good at what I did, but I wasn't able to communicate that. And people saw me as here, but I was actually here. I was so frustrated. And this is why it's important to learn communication skills, because as we do, we amplify the best parts of who we are. And when I started to do this, my entire life changed. So I want to now give you a demonstration of what it looks like when you combine technical skill with communication skills. So let's join me back over at the table and we'll combine technical skill with showmanship. Hello, Anu. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So let me jump over here. Okay, we'll try it again. Except this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these cards out of sight and we're going to play a quick game called 3-Card Monty, which only has 3 cards. So first of all, there's 1. And there is 2, a joker and a 5. And I want to bring out one more card because it's called 3-Card Monty. So please engage with me here. I want you to think about this. You have to watch the 5. That's what's going to be known as the money card. So don't take your eyes off the money card. Watch the money card. If I take the money card, the 5, first of all, if I leave the 5 on the table, then what card is here? Type J for joker and type 5 for 5. First one's super easy, nothing weird. Good, everyone thinks it's the joker. Well done, well done, well done. That's where you're wrong. It's actually the 5. Yeah, you've got to watch a little more closely. The card on the table is the joker. So please lean into your screens, get a little bit closer. Don't touch the screen because it might make it greasy. All right, now watch very closely. If I take the 5 now and I leave the 5 in my hand, I'm going to show you the 5. Watch the 5. I show you once. I show you twice. Don't take your eyes off the 5. As you watch the 5, what card was on the table again? If the 5 is here, then what card is this? Have a guess. Yes, good, joker. You're correct. You're correct. But then the joker's actually in my hand. It's not there because that's actually the 5. You've got to watch even closer than you already are. Keep both eyes open, please, and don't blink. Because now I'm going to take the 5. I'm going to put it back in my pocket, out of sight, out of mind. It goes in my pocket. So now the question is, I've got 2 jokers here. 1, 2. What if I told you in a moment, I'm going to go to my pocket. You see my hand disappear. I'm going to take the 5, switch the 5 that's in my pocket for the joker here. So they're going to switch places. Now, if I can do this without any of you seeing, would you be impressed? Type Y for yes and N for no. Let me see if I can see the Y. Yes, thank you for typing Y. Then I'll do it. I'll do it. So right now, you don't know what to watch. Do you watch my left hand? Do you watch my right hand? Right? How do you watch both hands when watch 1, 2? How do you watch both hands when it's already done? Just because the 5 is here. So do you know what's in my pocket? In my pocket is the other joker. Now, the crazy thing in this game is they always let you win once, okay? They say, oh, it's fine, Tiffany, I'll let you win once. Do you know why they let you win once? They go, oh, look, I'll let you win one game. They give you the 5 because then it builds your confidence and then you bet more money. You see, it's a psychological game, not just a game of sleight of hand. But you see, that's where they get you again because that's not the 5. If you didn't see that happen, it's because it went to my pocket. I've got 4 cards. It's how I cheat. Now watch closely because I'm not going to do this twice. Don't take your eyes off this. Watch the 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm showing you the joker now, okay? Now I'm going to put this joker in my pocket. It goes in my pocket. So the $1 million question, think about this. I try to get psychologically ahead of me here. Think about this really carefully before you type your answer. What card do you think is here? Have a guess. Type it. Yes, so many of you are good. You're writing joker, Vin. We know it's the joker, you monster. But that's where I use reverse psychology. It's the 5. If you jump 2 steps ahead, I'll jump 3 steps ahead. Now, look, if I wanted you to win, I'd give you the 5. The card I leave on the table is the card for you. So do you really think I want you to win? Do you think I want you to win? You're thinking, well, no, Vin, you're a bloody monster. But the thing is, I do want you to win. I do. Yes, I do. I do want you to win. And the question you really have to ask yourself is, how is it possible for you to lose now that you have a magician as your friend? You see, every single one is a 5. The first one's a 5, the second one's a 5, the third one's a 5. It's all 5s. There's only one joker to begin with. Moral of the story, don't gamble with me. Don't gamble. Thank you for mind blown. I love all the things in the chat that's coming out. Wow, wow, wow. No way, yes way, Ratner. Yes way. It did happen. But you see, do we need to contrast which was the better experience? Do we need to kind of stand here and say, just technical skill was better, Vin, just technical, or was it both? The answer is both. We don't have to debate this. For the longest time in my career as a magician, I did not achieve success simply because I focused purely on technical skill. I believe this is the same for you. In our entire educational lives, we've been taught that if you just get better technically, meaning you get an A for it, you're going to be successful in this life. The education system has failed us. This is simply not true. Simply not true. Because we need to also improve our communication skills. It's not which one should we focus on. The answer is rather both. This truly transformed my life. And I can tell you in many ways, one thing I'm going to share with you is the following. In the last 2 years, I've been able to achieve something using these 2 particular skill sets. And this is what I've been able to achieve. I'm a little bit proud of this, so I'm going to share this with you. You see, I restarted my YouTube channel just under 2 years ago, and we went from 0 subscribers to 1.4 million. And our Instagram went from about 50,000 to 3.7 million. My TikTok basically started it from nothing to 1.8 million. Facebook from about 20,000 to 1.7 million. And we've got a mailing list now of over 1.2 million people who have joined us. You see, that's the power of what? That's the power of me learning how to communicate effectively. The key skill set that has led you to joining me here currently is my ability to communicate and form a connection with you. But let's say you put me aside for a second. Let's not think about me. Let's think about all of the other influencers and people you follow on YouTube. What keeps you coming back to them? What keeps you coming back to them? Why do you keep watching their videos? What's the common thread among all of those right now in the creator economy who's getting all the attention? What's that common thread? Some of you are saying entertainment, value, communication. It's their ability to connect. And what skill do they use to be able to connect with you? It's their ability to communicate. That is the common thread. And you see, it's a valuable skill set, not only in the world we live in today, but it's a valuable skill set overall. Because when I didn't improve my communication skills, I didn't truly understand why I wasn't achieving more success. I didn't realize that not improving my communication skills, it meant that I was destroying my career growth. I didn't realize that by not improving my communication skills, I was completely invisible. All of my gifts and all of my talents, they remained invisible. You know, Brad always got the promotion, I didn't get it. Brad always got the career growth, I didn't get it. Because even though I was technically proficient, I was not able to communicate my value in those promotion interviews, in the job interviews. I simply was invisible. And here's the part that creates me the most pain. The part that creates me the most pain is not being able to communicate meant that it was really difficult for me to find a partner. One of the most important things to me in life is finding love. And I wasn't able to find love for the longest time because as a man, I was not able to communicate the value that I had to a potential partner. And that caused me so much pain because people kept saying, oh, Vin, you're such a good catch. And I was thinking to myself, well, then why is nobody catching me? Why is no one catching me? I don't see anyone catching me. And it was because of my inability to communicate my value as a man. And I want to ask you a question here now. Lean in and engage with me. You're already here. In the chat, I'm going to read some of the chat out. But let me ask you this question. I'll pop it on screen. How has a lack of communication skills impacted you in your life? Tell me. How much has a lack of communication skills? And I'm going to read some out. So if you don't mind, I'm here with you all. So I'm just going to quickly check here. I'm going to slow the chat down, slowing it down. Okay, slowed it down. I've got here from Sandy said, lack of promotion. Lorden just said, Vin, I get, people are misunderstanding me. Alberto says, poor relationships. And Katrina says, I don't have a lot of friends. And Katrina, I get that. I've been in that position before. Isolation from Caitlin. job interview from Margot, damaged relationships from Jonathan. I hear you, Jonathan. And I mean, let me just read a couple more out here. I feel this one, Edna, so I'm going to call it out. But Edna just said, people think I'm stupid. People don't think I'm valuable, right? And it's so interesting because so much of that has to do with our communication. The way people perceive us, so much of it has to do with how we communicate. I'm just going to read out one more as I click to the bottom of the chat screen. And the last one is a lack of respect from my team members. Do you see the chat going crazy, right? You know what you see right there? What you see right there, that's the cost of not being able to communicate effectively. But often in life, we don't look at this. There are thousands of costs when we don't communicate effectively. And I bet you, as many of you read this, you go, oh my God, I didn't even think of this. It's so true. The friendships, they're not deep simply because I don't know how to deepen the relationships, how to get out of, what did you watch on Netflix? What did you do last weekend? How to get past that and create deep, nourishing relationships. As you're seeing all of this come through, I bet you can relate. These are the hidden costs of not being able to communicate. And this is us taking a moment to look at the truth before we look forward into the future. We take a moment to acknowledge where we are. And sure, it's going to be painful, but that's okay. Sometimes the truth is painful, but we acknowledge the truth before we move forward. I'm going to ask you one more question, and this one's going to create a little bit of a sting, so I do apologize in advance. But again, let's not be afraid to look at the truth. With everything that you've written so far, how many years have you allowed this to go on for? Look at the chat. Have a look. You know, this one genuinely creates even me pain because I felt this and I understand this. It's going really fast, but as you look at this, you'll notice some people type 5 years, 6 years. And as you look at the chat a little more closely, you'll start to notice people write 10 years, 20 years. And then you see a lot of people write too long, all my life. This is what happens when we keep ignoring the thing that we need to improve. And it's easy to improve this. It's easy to actually ignore this as well because we just keep thinking, oh, it's just talking. Of course I know how to talk. Oh, it's just like breathing. I know how to breathe. But when we don't truly look at the truth, then what happens is we create an illusion in our own minds and we end up doing nothing. Thank you for leaning into the discomfort with me. But we do this so we see the truth, we acknowledge it for what it is, and now we look forward into the future. Because you've showed up for yourself, we're now going to do something about it. Most people do nothing about it. So just you being here, you're doing something about it. So feel good about this and give yourself credit for that. Because again, most people don't show up for themselves, let alone others. So well done. Well done. You've taken that first step. Now, as we go into the lessons of the masterclass, I just want to let you know a few things. 3 things. Number 1, the first thing is, myself and my team, we did promise that every one of you are going to get the self-awareness assessment booklet that we've created. It's a 5-step process to help you improve your communication skills. It's taken me years to develop this. Normally, I only give my students who come to my in-person classes this booklet, but every single one of you is going to get this workbook, and that's that there. So every single person is getting a copy of this. You're getting a copy of this right at the end of our class together. So that's just thank you for showing up, and well done for showing up. We want to celebrate those who are willing to take action, and thank you for all the gratitude that's coming through. My pleasure. You'll show up for you, I'm going to show up for you, and the rest of my team will too. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what we're going to do is, this is super exciting, Dan and I love doing this, is at the end of our time together, at the end of the class, we're going to pick 3 lucky winners to win my online course, which is called the Stage Academy. So I've got a program called the Stage Academy. We're going to pick 3 lucky winners. We're just going to pick people at random, and 3 people are going to get the online course worth $1,000 if you purchased it and you just found me online. So we're going to pick 3 people for this. And then the third question, the third thing I want to mention is just to address the elephant in the room. Most people tend to think, well, Vin, why do you run these classes for free, hey? Why do you do that? I love to be really transparent. There are thousands of communication skills teachers in the world. Thousands. There are so many. How do you know if I'm the right teacher for you? So I run these free masterclasses so you can sit in on a class with me to see what it's like learning with me, to see if you like me as a teacher, to see if you like my structured classes. And if you do, at the end of this class, I'll share with you how you can continue your journey with me if you choose to do so. And I'll say one last thing, right at the end, if we've got time and my wife allows it, we're going to do some Q&A. So we've got some lovely Q&A where we can kind of just back and forth, live Q&A. I'll wait for your questions to come through. You ready? Get your pens out. let's begin the masterclass. Now, anytime you begin anything with me, I always like to acknowledge one thing, and I always start with this. I'm going to start how I normally start. We're going to switch cameras, and this is how I'd normally start. So, first of all, many of you, again, don't know this about me, but about 15, 16 years ago, I was in university and I was studying accounting. Yay! Fulfilling the Asian prophecy. Yes, correct. And as I was fulfilling the Asian prophecy, an accountant, lawyer, or doctor, I was doing accounting. It's a 5-year degree in Australia, okay? And 4.5 years into the 5-year degree, meaning 6 months to go, I came home and I had the following conversation with my parents. So just imagine you were there. So I came home and I said, Mum, Dad, I love you. It's taken me all my life to build the confidence to tell you this. I'd like to quit university. My mum immediately starts crying. It's impossible to cry that fast. It's impossible. But she knows that if she cries, my dad gets pissed off. So pretty much on cue, my dad rolls up his sleeves, walks up towards me. You know what my dad does? My dad does this. He goes, sorry, for those of you who don't know, that's what Bruce Lee does before he kicks your ass. So I recognize the signs of danger and I say to my dad, I go, Dad, no, don't. Don't, Dad, just wait. Dad, there's 2 things I have to tell you. Dad, the first thing is, I've already quit university. I thought I'd do it and then apologize. And Dad, the second thing is, Dad, I'd like you to give me $100,000 so I can build a business on the internet to teach magic tricks. Let's just make sure we're on the same page here. I've just told a 60-year-old Vietnamese man who's been through the war, he was on a boat for 2 months, a refugee island for 2 years to get to Australia to give this son of his an education. I've just told him I wanted to be Harry Potter. Okay, so my dad at this point is pissed. He is super angry. He doesn't even know what to do. So he looks to my mum for instructions, and now she's crying for real. So he kind of just walks away awkwardly, grabs my mum by the arm, and then they both walk into the kitchen. And at this point, I'm thinking, why would knives are in the kitchen? So I start to panic. I'm thinking, what's going to happen from this? What, did I have an older brother that I didn't know about? And then I start to panic. And then they start to whisper, which makes my imagination go wild. So this is what I'm thinking, okay? So when they whisper, this is what I'm thinking they're saying. My dad's most likely saying something like this to my mum. Something like this. He's probably saying this. Okay, baby, don't worry, okay? Baby, don't cry, honey. Don't cry, okay? Honey, okay? We killed this boy tonight. Okay, honey, don't cry, baby, okay? Tonight, okay, me and you, we make another one. It's not a joke, but thanks for all the laughing emojis. Totally not a joke. My brother was then born as a result. Not even a joke. Thank you for laughing. I see all the laughing emojis causing me immense pain. Enough with the LOLs. All right, but you see, my brother was genuinely born. My brother and I over 12 years apart, and I'm pretty sure they had my brother because they thought to themselves, right, we totally stuffed that one up. Let's make another one. And they did. Not a joke. True story. My parents actually come out of the kitchen about 15 minutes later, and they say something I don't expect. And you have to understand, my dad is the oldest brother of 7 brothers. He was the one that made the decision to flee Vietnam during the war, to find freedom for his unborn children. I wasn't even born and he thought of me. So my dad came out and he said something that I'll never forget. So he comes out and he says, boy, I did not risk my life. I did not risk the lives of everyone in the Giang family, especially your mum and your grandparents. I didn't risk everybody's life to try to find freedom to then force you to do something you don't want to do. If it's magic, it's okay. The most beautiful words he said then followed. He said, son, in this life, you actually owe me one thing. Do you know this? You owe me one thing. You have to jump as high as you can in this life. And as long as I'm alive, I'll forever be your net. I always start my classes with this story to acknowledge my parents. You know, I would not be where I am today. I would not have achieved the things I've achieved in my life if it wasn't for the sacrifices, I'll show you. It wasn't for the sacrifices these 2 people have made. I would not be who I am. I would not be where I am. I wouldn't have been achieving the things I've achieved in my life. And I believe the same is true for you. you would not be who you are. You would not be where you are if it wasn't for the sacrifices your families have made, whether it's the families we choose or the families we're born into. So before we kick off the masterclass, can we hashtag family in the chat to acknowledge the people who have given us the lives that we have, who have helped us build the lives that we have? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for leaning in. I think it's so important for us to show gratitude to the people who've done so much for us. Hashtag family. I love that we're starting on a note of love. Now here's the thing. As I started this journey, as I improved my showmanship, I improved my technical skill, I remember something weird started to happen. People started to ask me to speak. Now, some of you know that I'm a professional speaker, some of you don't. But this is the contract for my first speaking event I ever did. So have a look at this. So there was a school that sent me an email, said, hey, Vin, could you come speak for us? And I said, sure. And they said, Vin, we'll pay you $400 to speak at our school for an hour. And I remember thinking to myself, wait, you pay me what? You pay me $400 for an hour? My goodness, can I do it twice? That's ridiculous. I've never been paid so much money for an hour in my life. So they go, no, Vin, we just want you to do it once, don't do it twice. I see all the love for the family still coming through. It's beautiful. Now, as I did that gig, I opened my mind to, wow, I love this speaking career. It brings me so much fulfillment. And I'm not sharing this next piece with you to encourage you to be professional speakers, one of the most difficult industries in the world. But there's a reason why I'm sharing with you this next contract. That contract for $400, that was in 2014. Fast forward to more recent years, I want to share with you this contract, and there's a reason I'm showing you this. One of my clients paid me $100,000 to speak for an hour. And I remember the moment they shared this with me, I was like, oh my goodness, imposter syndrome. They're going to work out I'm a fraud. They're going to work out I don't have a university degree. They're going to work out my wife's more educated than me. They're going to work out Dan is more educated than me. And then they're going to just write Google articles about me, how I'm a fraud. So I freaked out. And I had so much imposter syndrome. And then I feel so grateful because some of you may know Mel, but one of my good friends, Mel, I remember reaching out to Mel Robbins and saying, Mel, I'm a fraud. I'm an absolute fraud. And Mel, what I love about Mel is she's so straight to the point. She goes, oh, shut up. You're not as good as you think. There are way more speakers that get paid way more than you, meaning Mel. Mel gets paid way more than me per hour. And she just goes, get over yourself. Do you know why speakers get paid this amount of money, Vin? Do you know why? And I'll never forget what she said. One of the reasons professional speakers get paid $250,000 an hour, $500,000 an hour, $1 million an hour, is because the ability to inspire, the ability to influence, the ability to communicate effectively is one of the most highly valued skill sets in the world, if not the most valued skill set in the world. I share this with you not because go become keynote speakers. I share this with you because we're about to deep dive into the world's most highly valued skill set. And imagine taking the most highly valued skill set in the world and injecting it into your life personally and into your life professionally. What would that mean for you? So now as we look forward into the future, we recognize the past. As we look forward into the future, my question for you is this. What would it mean for you if you were able to take the world's most highly valued skill set and injected that into your careers? What would it mean? What would it mean for you? It'd mean everything. It'd mean that I'd get career progression. Someone just said power. I love this. Growth, the ability to communicate my feelings with clarity. And thank you for leaning in. More success in my life. That's the future we're heading towards. And these next 3 key lessons I'm about to share with you, these are the universal laws in the world of communication. And when people don't learn these next 3 universal laws, they never change the way they sound. Notice this. People will change their hairstyle. Not me, because I still am a man-child. But again, people will change the way they dress. They'll change their glasses. They'll change their watch. They'll change their shoes. They'll change so many things about themselves all throughout their lives. But they never change the way they sound. Do you notice this? And one of the main reasons people never change the way they sound is because they truly don't understand these next 3 universal laws. By understanding these, you are going to be able to transform the way you sound. So please, take your pens, take your fingers, let's start learning. Universal laws. And I've got to tell you, learning this completely changed my life. But you have to unlock these 3 key universal laws. The first one is known as 88 keys. And I learned 88 keys from my vocal teacher. I'll never forget this. My vocal teacher, I didn't want to be a singer. I just wanted to learn how to use my voice. And I'll never forget this. The first time I met my vocal teacher, she was sitting in a small piano room, and she was sitting on a chair, sitting down. She wasn't even looking at me. And I kind of opened the door. It was really squishy. I walked in, and I said, "Hi, I'm just here for the vocal classes." She didn't say anything. All she said was, "Sit down, young man." I just thought, well, that's a little bit rude, but sure. So I sat down, and then you know what she does? She plays one key on the piano, and she just repeated that. One key over and over and over again. This went on for about 3 minutes. It was the most excruciating 3 minutes of my life. And I just kind of went, what's happening here? I don't even know what's going on. At the end of the 3 minutes, she turns around and she asks me, "How do you feel, young man?" This is what I honestly said. I said, "I'm actually a little bit scared." That seemed like somewhat of a horror movie. But outside of immense fear, nothing. I don't really feel anything right now. And then the nerve on this lady, she just goes, "Good." And then she plays this beautiful song called Romance. Oh, it was beautiful. She plays this beautiful song. And then right at the end of that, about 3 minutes, she goes, "How do you feel, young man?" And I said, "I'm still scared from the start, but wow, that song, I feel a sense of lust. I feel a little bit of heartbreak in there. I feel a little bit of sadness, but also for some weird reason, nostalgia." And she goes, "Good." And she turns around for the first time and she says, "Honey, most people in life speak like this. I'm going to teach you how to speak like this." That changed everything in my brain in that moment. I realized in that moment that, my goodness, I've been treating my voice as a tool. I've been thinking about this voice as, oh, I just use it. And this is genuinely how I used to sound. And I know this because it's a behavior I've been repeating for 20 plus years of my life. This is how I used to use my voice. And you're probably thinking I'm being dramatic, but I use my voice like this because I just thought to myself, a voice is just a tool. You just use it. It's more about the words that you say. It's not about how you say it. It's just about the words. Words are the common modality for communication. But I did not realize that I had access to 88 keys. Metaphor being, there are 88 keys on the piano. And she told me that, "Vin, there are 88 keys on the piano. Your voice has so many keys, and you're only using one." So this is what happens though. You have to understand this psychologically, because if you don't, you will not change the way you sound. I repeat, you will not change the way you sound if you don't understand this next part. With my students, when I train my students, let's say for example, they speak like this and they're fairly neutral. And then I get them to try something like that. And then, I get them to play with their voice. The moment I get them to play with some different keys, do you know what they immediately think? They immediately think, "Oh, no, can't do that, Vin. Nope, not doing that. That's inauthentic. That is fake and it is phony." Now, most of you would agree, right? Now, you don't understand the dangers of thinking like this, because the moment you think it's fake and phony, the moment you think it's not you or it's inauthentic, do you know what happens? You stop exploring your instrument. You no longer explore the 88 keys, because again, you try, have a bit of fun, and then you go, "Oh, no, that's not me." You never explore this instrument. That mindset is incorrect. The moment you feel that feeling when you're trying something different with your voice and you start to feel, "Oh, this feels awkward, it feels weird, it feels fake, it feels phony," the moment you think this, write this down. The moment you think this, you have to reframe it to, "Oh, it's not fake and phony. I'm just really familiar with these keys here. I'm just really familiar with these. Those keys over there, I'm just unfamiliar with them. I'm just unfamiliar." And the moment you make this mindset shift, you go on to explore your entire instrument. You go on to go, "Oh, right, I'm just unfamiliar." And the moment you think unfamiliar, guess what? You start playing with the entire damn instrument, because you're now no longer stopped by this mindset of fake and phony, it's not authentic. You will not believe it, but not making this one mindset shift keeps people sounding the same for their entire lives. And then they just don't play like this. They don't make people feel a sense of excitement. They don't make people feel a sense of love, feel a sense of connection. All of this is carried through by how you say something, not purely by the words. Think about this. If I get the greatest music written by Beethoven, but if I play it poorly, will you perceive it to be the greatest music? No, you won't. You could have the greatest ideas. You could have the greatest visions. You could have the maximum value. You could be the person they're looking for in that job interview. But because you fail to use your communication ability, they won't see you as such. They will think you're not good enough. And you know what happens most of the time? They don't hire the person that's perfect for the role. They end up hiring the better communicator. You've had this happen to you before. It's happened to me before, where they pick somebody else and you're like, damn it, Brad's not even as good as me. Damn it, I'm way better than Brad. Why did you pick Brad? Sorry, I actually had a Brad in my life that always got all the girls, and that's why I use him as an example. I'm going to get a sip of water, so just wash that taste out of my mouth. So just sip of water, wash that taste of Brad out of my mouth. Nauseating. Okay, Brad, everyone's in the chat. No, I love Brad, but just not during high school. He always got all the ladies. 88 keys. So understand this to the core. Now that you understand this, it unlocks your mind to allow you to explore. Now, the next universal law is absolutely critical. Number 2, the second universal law, it's going to sound extremely trite. It's going to sound extremely basic, but we're going to go really deep on it, okay? Most people, once they hear this, they go, I heard this before, but we're going to go really deep on it. And I'm going to explain it to you in a way I bet you've never thought about before. Now, the next one, write this down. Only practice should have been a doctor. Only practice leads to improvement. Only practice leads to improvement. Let me explain. There are many areas of expertise in the world where a cerebral understanding of it is enough. For example, mathematics. If I understand that 1 + 1 = 2, that is good enough for me to be able to use that knowledge, right? Because I cerebrally understand it. It makes sense, right? Thank you, Dan, for all the graphics. Fancy. But then the funny thing is, when it comes to communication skills, the way you speak, it's actually a series of behaviors. It is. The most common question I get from people, especially on my Instagram, is people go, Vin, is it possible for me to change the way I sound? And I love this question because I answer them back with a question straight away, and I like to be cheeky. And I always say, is it possible for you to change your behavior? And they're like, well, Vin, that's a stupid question. Of course it's possible to change your behavior. Then I say, well, then it's possible for you to change the way you sound. Just like you saying, then is it possible for me to take my hands out of my pockets? Well, yes, you take them out of your pockets. It's a behavior. It's a habitual behavior that you've been exhibiting. So just learn how to stop that habit. The way you sound is a series of behaviors. I'll prove it. Let me get a sip of water first before I do this. I just always need a little lubrication. So I've been watching a bit of Batman, and I'm going to change the way I move my mouth. I'm going to change the way I use my airflow. I'm going to change the way I move my tongue. I'm going to change the way I move my lips. And as a result of doing this, I'm going to change the way I sound. See if you can tell what character this is from Batman. So here we go. I'm just going to improv a little bit. Here we go. Sorry. It is you, Batman. You merely rented the darkness. I was born in the darkness. You, Batman, don't understand that I can crush you. Okay, so there's Bane. Sorry, that was absolutely awful. But the thing is, I could choose to sound like that for the rest of my life. Yes, I could. Those are just a series of behaviors. I changed the way I move my mouth. I changed the way I sound. I could choose to sound like that for the rest of my life, except my wife would leave me, my son and daughter would no longer look at me, and I would live a life filled with loneliness. Right? I could change again. Think about this. And trust me, this when I realized this, I went, oh my goodness. For my whole life, I thought I was born with this voice and I can't change it. I didn't realize that it was just a set of behaviors. You have to understand the significance of this lesson, because most people out there believe that they are stuck with the way they sound. No, you're not. It is just a series of behaviors. For example, if Disney ever made the call, and Disney, if you're out there and you're listening, I'm available if you need me. If the person who plays Mickey Mouse ever dies and they say, Vin, we need a new Mickey Mouse, I'll be like, of course I can. I can help you become a Mickey Mouse. Oh, I love being a Mickey Mouse. It's so easy to do this voice. I could be the next Mickey Mouse. I could choose to sound like that for the rest of my life. Here's the part that gets most people. What you fail to realize at this point because you haven't obsessed about communication skills for 20 years like I have. But what you fail to realize at this point is there are a set of behaviors that you've unconsciously decided to choose that have become habits. There are habits that, because you're so used to them, they feel natural. So anytime you do anything outside of that habit, you go, oh, that's unnatural, or that's inauthentic. No. It's just because it's been a habit for the last 20 years. So it's completely invisible to you. And because of that, you think it's you. It's not. Absolutely. I mean, think about this. Let's think about the reframe from 88 Keys, right? Let's go back to 88 Keys because, again, it's important to create these connections between the things we learn. But when you think about 88 Keys, when you see someone playing the piano for a first time and they're not really good at it, and they're like, dun, 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 right? Do you look at that pianist and go, what an inauthentic pianist? What? That is the fakest and the most phoniest pianist I've ever seen in my life. No, you just think, oh, that person's learning how to play the piano, right? So you've got to understand that, yeah, you just think that person needs practice. So if you don't like the way you sound, you just have to start practicing so you sound better. Whereas most people think, I'm just stuck with the way I sound. No, I'm stuck with this, Vin. I'm just going to stuck like this the rest of my life. I'm like, no, you have to understand. It's just a set of unconscious behaviors that you now have to make conscious and go, well, what if I changed the airflow? What if I changed the way I move my mouth? Like I did for you all before. My dad, I changed the way I move my mouth. What the hell you want to be, the Harry Potter? No, bad boy. All of a sudden I could become a cowboy if I wanted to. I apologize to all my Texan friends, but that's my cowboy accent. Oh, I love going to Texas. I love cooking a good slow-cooked brisket. Please, my friends, you are not trapped with the voice that you have. This is just the beginning for you as you learn to play 88 keys and put into practice the things you're going to learn. Number three. And please drop a fire emoji if this is opening your mind to the world of communication skills. Drop me a fire emoji. Yes, thank you for the fire emojis coming through. But someone just wrote fire and someone wrote lots of fire. But this is the thing. Not realizing these components in that particular sequence of learning, it does not unlock change. Keep you sounding the same. Number three. This is a very important lesson, and I can tell you now, this lesson is going to answer thousands of questions for you. I always get these kind of questions from social media where people say, oh, Vin, when I talk, I have my hands in my pockets. Vin, is that a problem? Vin, when I talk, I move around a lot. Vin, is that a problem? Hey, Vin, when I speak really quickly. Is that a problem, Vin? I'm not sure if that's a problem. Hey, Vin, when I look at people and I talk really quickly, sometimes I don't look at people when I talk. Is that a problem, Vin? Vin, sometimes I move my hands too much. Is that a problem? And they say, Vin, is this a problem? Is that a problem? Is this a problem? Is that a problem? You can use the golden rule to answer all of your questions. The golden rule is going to answer everything. It's going to answer everything for you. And please write this down and thank you for all the fire emojis. All right. Here's the golden rule. And it's not the golden rule in life where it's like treat others how you want to be treated. No, it's not that. This is the golden rule. Please write this down. If it distracts people from the message, it's a problem. If it distracts people from the message, it's a problem. And you see, that simple frame, which took years to understand, that yeah, if I was talking like this, right, that's distracting from the message. And then all of a sudden, with that simple rule, you're able now to curb some of the things that you're currently doing that may be distracting people from the message. Now remember, when you learn with me, because I want this class to be something that symbolizes a class that I run, I always get my students to apply the knowledge that they're acquiring. It's not just about knowledge acquisition. One of the main reasons I think in the world today, people are more frustrated than ever is because people always think another podcast, another book, another workshop. They always acquire knowledge nonstop, but you know what they don't do? They don't apply the knowledge. And if you just keep acquiring knowledge, that's not power. You just become a library. Yes, that's right. No one even visits libraries anymore. So knowledge is not power. It's missing one word. Applied knowledge is power. So we're about to apply the golden rule. And I'm going to get you all to apply it. And let me just grab my little scrolly thing here so I can keep the chat. Let's apply the golden rule, okay? So I'm going to get you to watch this video of one of my students. As you watch this video of one of my students, I want you to apply the golden rule. What is he doing in this video that's distracting you from the message? Here we go.
So, me, the youngest student in the class by about a year and a half, and he looked out at the class and said, "Now, why do you guys think it was important that the signers of the Declaration addressed it to the king?" Reason I'm telling you all this is that it wound up being 4 years later, became jack of all trades, master of two.
Do you see this? Are you looking in the chat? I said, for a reason. It's because what was distracting you from the message? The ums and the ahs, the non-words and the filler words. Says Anna, and you're correct, Anna. Did you notice that? Now, here's the crazy part, right? Do you see the power of knowledge application? The moment you learned that, you kind of sat there and went, oh yeah, that's cool. That's a cool lesson, Vin. Thank you. Fire, fire, fire. But then the moment you applied it, that's where the power applies. That's where the power is present. This is how you get more progress in life. So again, back to the story, right? So I did this with Stuart, that's his name. And then at the end of the class, I kind of said, Stuart, come around and have a look at the video. And Stuart, can you apply the golden rule for me? And as he watched the video, he kind of sat there and his jaw just dropped and he went, no, Vin, that can't be me. That's, what? Vin, I said and every single 2 seconds. What the frick? He didn't even know that he did that. You see, this is the scary thing about non-functional behaviors. There are some behaviors that you currently exhibit every time you communicate, every day when you communicate, that are invisible to you. Stuart being shocked at that is a normal thing because I coach communication, so I know. There are so many unconscious, non-functional behaviors that are robbing you of interview opportunities, that are robbing you of promotion interviews, that are robbing you of the ability to be more clear, have more authority. So he didn't know this. He couldn't believe it. He was freaked out. So I said, Stuart, so what do you do? If you understand the golden rule, what do you do? And he goes, I need to minimize the non-words and fillers. So I got him to go back up on stage and watch his example after. Watch this transformation. It's unbelievable. Check this out. Okay, you got this. You got this.
Sit at the edge of the table, notes next to him, and he posed the question to the class, why was it important that the framers of the Declaration of Independence, why was it important for them to address the Declaration to the king and not to Parliament? So I looked around the class, crickets, seniors and juniors looking up to the heavens above, trying to divine what the answer might be, and timidly raised my hand and said, because it was a revocation of everything it was to be British. He paused for a moment, looked at me, and said, exactly.
Boom, big round of applause. Oh, big round of applause, right? I mean, look at the way you're all reacting to him. Here's something that I really want to share with you in this moment. You see the way you're reacting to Stuart? Other people react to you in the same way when you make these minor adjustments. You see, in the world of communication, it's not about you changing 100 things about you. You could just change one thing and it completely transforms the way you come across. So for example, right at the end of that, the class gave him a thunderous round of applause, and this was such a weird situation that then happened. So weird. So then I'm standing there going, I'm an amazing teacher. Look at me, look at me. I'm about to get praise. He's probably going to hug me. So I stood there all proud of myself as a teacher. And then as I saw Stuart start walking towards me, he looked really angry. I was like, what? Are you that attached to the yums and ahs, Stuart? What's going on? And he looked really angry, and he came up to me, and I was so curious. I was like, what the hell's going on? And he came up to me, and he goes, oh, Vin, I'm so frustrated. I'm so angry right now because I've just realized in the last 5 minutes that for the last 6 years of my life, I've been held back for promotions. I've lost out on particular job interviews because my managers keep saying to me that when I speak, I lack authority, I lack precision, I lack credibility, and I'm not clear. And I just realized, Vin, in the last 5 minutes that the reason they labeled me with all these things is because of these stupid ums and ahs. And he was so fired up, he was so angry. And I remember saying to Stuart, I'm like, oh my goodness, I never thought about it from that perspective. But that's what it could cost you. 6 years of life, 6 years of career growth. And then I remember trying to calm him down and just saying to Stuart, it's okay, it's okay. At least you didn't let it rob you an entire lifetime of potential. At least it wasn't 10 years. At least it wasn't 20 years. There are non-functional behaviors that we all have. And because communication skills, it's a behavior. And when behaviors become habitual, they become invisible. So my question to you is this: do you want to find out what your non-functional behaviors are? Do you want to know what those non-functional behaviors are? And if you do want to know, and thank you for typing yes and leaning in, that's why I created my self-awareness assessment. The 5-step process, that PDF, you're all getting a copy. That is a 5-step process that helps you identify the non-functional behaviors. I got you. It's coming. Don't allow these little behaviors to rob us of career growth. Don't allow them to rob you of impact. It's not worth it. And don't allow it to rob you of 6 years of potential. Don't. We've got more time, so we're going to go deeper into one of my classes. Another thing that I teach in my class, what do you think? And here's a question for you. So don't worry, that PDF is coming. Here's the next one. And I saw someone write that. I do got you. I do have your back. Question I got for you is this: why do you think everyone wants to learn communication skills? We're going to go one more topic here. Why do you think people want to learn communication skills? Why? Why? They want to build more self what? More self-confidence. Yes. I love everyone stopping. Yes. When you are more confident, you don't tear other people down. You don't hate on others. Confident people lift others up. And when you become more confident, you become a better communicator. When you become more confident, you become a better son, better daughter. You become a better brother, better sister. You become a better contributor to society. You do. So one of the main things that happens when we improve our communication skills is we become more confident. But here's the thing. I have to tell you this. When I learned this next lesson, it lit a fire under my bum. I know how eloquent. It really did. It lit a fire under my bum. And I learned this lesson. I experienced the lesson when I was 13. I learned the lesson in my early 20s. I'll explain. When I was 13, one of my best friends at the time, his name was Kevin. And Kevin and I were just going to high school. So freshman year, year 8 in Australia, we call it. And we were going on year 8 camp, freshman camp, okay? And Kevin and I bonded over the fact that we were both absolute losers, textbook losers, last to pick on a sports team, girls never talked to us. And we bonded over the fact that we said, Kevin, you and I will die lonely. Don't worry about girls, they have germs. We bonded, the brotherhood, bonded over loneliness. And so nobody wanted to share our cabin with us, which is fine because there's more room for us. So we had a cabin to ourselves. And I'll never forget this. On the first night of camp, I went to the bathroom, came back, and then Kevin wasn't in the cabin. I freaked out. You have to understand, he's my only friend at this point. So I freak out and I think, oh my goodness, maybe the bullies have Kevin. I have to go protect him. So I storm all over the campgrounds to try to find Kevin. And then finally I get to the fire pit. And when I slowly look up, what I saw before me was the ultimate betrayal words difficult right now, because it was just betrayal in its purest sense. Because when I looked up, Kevin was standing at the fire pit, playing his ukulele, get this, talking to girls. Yes, that is a plural. That is not a singular word. Girls, there's an S on that. And he was talking to these girls, laughing with them, playing the ukulele. I saw that, and I immediately looked at him, made sure he looked at me and saw me, and I went, and I remember walking off back to the cabin, and then Kevin, being the good friend he was, he immediately dramatically drops his ukulele, runs after me and says, Vin, no, it's not what you think. And I'm like, no, it is exactly what I think. It's exactly what I think. I went back to the cabin and I just jumped in bed, put on the blanket, didn't talk to him all night. The hardest thing to do is pretending that you're asleep and angry when you're not actually asleep. You're just angry. So I don't even know when I fell asleep. Worst night of my life. And then I woke up the next day, looked around, guess what? Kevin wasn't there. Of course, probably has a family and kids by now at this point. Probably missed this wedding because he didn't invite me. So I just thought, you know what? I'm just this massive loser now, and I've got no friends. And I remember walking into the cafeteria, and this is the part that just bamboozled me for 10 years. And then I walked into the cafeteria, and as I looked up, Kevin was sitting at a bench by himself. This confident, vibrant person the night before has returned to the friend that I know and the loser that we are. And I just went, wait, what? what the but in my own mind, being 13, I went, that's my friend, that's more like it. Being selfish, I just thought, that's the person I want as a friend. I only understood what this was 10 plus years later. 10 plus years later, as I started to go down the journey of learning communication skills, I learned about something known as, write this down, I learned about something known as contextual confidence. And contextual confidence is when you are confident in one context, but not confident in another. Okay? So let me explain. When Kevin was holding the ukulele, the reason he was confident and the reason he was confident when he was holding the ukulele is because in that context, because he was masterful with that instrument, he was more confident. And then all of a sudden, when he didn't have his ukulele the next morning, in that particular context, he wasn't confident. And I went, oh, that is so fascinating because we all experience this. And I'll show you what I experienced too. So I'm going to jump off screen for a second. And I'm going to jump back on screen here because for me, it was the same thing. I had the same problem. When I had my packet of cards, oh, you bet your bum I was confident because I was masterful with a packet of cards. So when I had a packet of cards, I could talk to the prettiest girl in university. No problems at all. No problem. I could talk to anyone. And then one day in university, I left my bag at home because I got a new bag. I forgot my packet of cards. I couldn't talk to anyone. So I was contextually confident. Here's the part that lit a fire under me. Confidence is something I've been seeking my entire life, and I just didn't understand this one lesson, and that's why I didn't become confident. You can leave your packet of cards at home. You can leave your ukulele around the fire pit. Answer me this question in the chat. Is it possible for you to leave your voice at home? Yes or no? Is it possible? No. No. Is it possible for you to leave your ability to storytell at home? No. Is it possible for you to leave your ability to actively listen once you've acquired it? No. Is it possible for you to leave your expert levels of body language? Can you leave that at home? No. So what does that mean? That means as you improve your communication skills, you become contextually confident in every single area of your life. Yet in our society that we live in today, people are they're addicted to cheap thrills. Oh, if I want to be more confident, I'm going to go skydiving. That gives you momentary motivation. That gives you a momentary adrenaline rush. It does nothing for your confidence. If you truly want to become more confident and you understand the value behind being more confident, you now know the key. As you master this instrument, it is inevitable. You become confident in every single context of your life. My friends, the number of people that don't understand this and then as a result do these gimmicky little things to try to improve their confidence, it doesn't work. This is the most holistic way that I've discovered to improve your self-confidence. You now have so many of the keys. You've got so many of the keys. And as you look forward into the future, just for a moment, as you understand all of this, give yourself permission to dream. I think in the world we live in today, people are so afraid of dreaming anymore. They don't give themselves permission to do this. But just imagine for a second. Imagine that you mastered this ability. You could walk into any networking function. You're contextually confident in every single area of your life, meaning now you could walk up to anyone, start a conversation, introduce yourself, connect with others with confidence. You're now able to walk into a job interview as opposed to being nervous and thinking, oh my goodness, what they're going to ask me. Oh my goodness, what am I going to say? You walk into that feeling confident, feeling assured. There's an ease about you. And when they talk to you, you're able to build rapport immediately, quickly. You're laughing with them. Now you're able to match your technical skill with your communication ability. Now you're able to truly share the value that you have. Imagine you're able to sit around a dinner table, have difficult conversations with people you sometimes need to have a difficult conversation with, as opposed to just sweep it under the rug. You now have that ninja-like conversational ability to have tough conversations, which does what? Deepens your relationships with people. Have more nourishing relationships. Imagine that's all possible and more. And why is that possible and more? Why? It's because communication is not a gift. It's not a gift. English was my third language. Didn't learn English properly till I was in my early teens. Communication is a learnable skill set anybody can learn. Anybody can learn this, including you sitting there right now. You absolutely can. And I just want you to know that this is the journey that most people go on. And I want you to tell me if you can relate, okay? At some point in your life, you've obviously thought, I need to improve my communication skills. And that point has come as a result of maybe a performance review, maybe a job interview, maybe just speaking with friends. You're just starting to become aware of it, right? So what happens to all of us? Tell me if you can relate in the chat, okay? Just drop a heart emoji if you can relate to this, a heart emoji. This is what happens. So you think to yourself, I need to improve my communication skills. So the moment you think you need to improve your communication skills, what do? You go to Google and you type in how to improve my communication skills. And then you get 6.7 million responses on there, and you think, oh my goodness, this is so overwhelming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to YouTube, and hopefully someone has summarized all the information to me in a 10-minute video. Great, so you do that, and then you get 6.2 million kind of responses, and you think to yourself, oh, damn it, that's a lot of videos. So then you start to watch stuff, and you kind of go, I'm feeling a little bit confused and overwhelmed, and then what do you do after that? You don't end up doing anything, and then after that, what do? You turn on Game of Thrones for the 4th time, because it's an amazing series and it deserves a 5th watching, if not 6th, right? And then what happens? You forget about it completely. And then the classic thing happens, and you know this, and drop a heart emoji if you are connected. What happens is you go 3 months later, and then something happens where you go, oh, no, I need to work on my communication skills. So what do again? You go to Google, and you go, how do I improve communication skills? And then you get 6.7 million responses. Now it's 6.9 because there's more. And you go, no, I'm an idiot. Of course, go to YouTube. YouTube's where you go. And then you get kind of the videos that look familiar, and you're like, wait, have I seen that? And you click the video, you watch it, and you go, oh, I've actually seen that video already. And then you go, wait, but how do I? And then you get overwhelmed again, and you just kind of get defeated, and you go, oh, you know what? Bugger it. It's too hard. And then after that, what do? Of course, now you go to Lord of the Rings. It's the only choice after Game of Thrones, really. There's not that many other great series out there. And it's a cycle. And that cycle just happens over and over and over and over and over again. Do you remember right at the start of our time together? Do you remember when I asked you the question, how many years have you allowed this to go on for? And do you remember seeing the numbers that were coming up? Sometimes you saw 10 years, 20 years, all my life. Do you remember that? Some of you, when you saw that, you're probably thinking, wait, how is that possible someone let this go for 20 years? It's because of that spiral. So we get so many knocks at the door, so many reminders that, hey, improve your communication skills, you advance more in your career. Hey, improve your communication skills, you'll deepen your relationships with the people you care about. Hey, if you improve your communication skills, you'll feel like you're driving without the brakes on. But we keep ignoring it and ignoring it and ignoring it. Here's the craziest part. It should not have taken me 20 years to get to my level of mastery. It should have taken me 12 months. But because I was learning from all these different sources and it became all so confusing, I didn't know where to start. And because truly, it's not your fault that you are where you are. It is not. And this is not so you can use this as an excuse. This is the true nature of reality. And it is the education system has failed us. Do you remember in school, the only time you learn about communication skills is once a year. And guess what happens? We all become so nervous that what happens? We just are sick that day for school. The one day we have an opportunity to practice our communication skills. We don't get taught this skill set, yet we're expected to be masterful at it. I do these classes so you can get a sense of what it's like learning with me. I want to share with you my stage programs. I'd love the opportunity to share it with you with your permission. This is what I do. This is my life's work. I teach communication skills. And I wanted to give you a sense of what it's like learning with me before I shared with you what I do, just so you can see if I'm the right choice for you. So I'd love to take a moment to explain this to you. And I want to share this with you. I've got 2 different types of stage programs, okay? The first stage program that I have is an online course, and it's called the Stage Academy. So the Stage Academy is an online course which has 120 videos. There's over 12 hours of content, and it says 12 hours plus because I add new content to it every single quarter. Every single 3 months, we add more content. And the reason we do this is simply because as I learn more, I update the online course. So in 2023, we updated it 4 times. And all the updates are free for my students. And once you join once, you've got lifetime access. Here's the special thing about my online course. I run communication skill workshops every single year. I get a group of videographers who film every single workshop that I run. So I film real students going through real transformations, changing key behaviors, and I use all of this real footage to put inside my online course. So my online course is professionally recorded, so you've got real examples of real students, not just me, standing at a screen with a slide talking to you. I show you real behavioral changes. So you can go, oh my goodness, I suffer from the same thing as Stephanie. So if I do the same remedy as Stephanie, I'll create change. So that's the first part of the program. It's the online course you can learn from anywhere you want in the world, accessible anytime, right? And I did that because we all are from different parts of the world, right? And I would love to share with you what some of my students have to say about the Stage Academy. And I'm very lucky to have these students make these videos for me, but here we go. You've completed the Stage Academy.
Awesome! Oh my God, I can't begin to explain to you how important this course can be for you.
He just shows everything in a very fun and engaging way.
This has changed my life.
I kind of binged it because Vinh was amazing.
My career is going to absolutely take off because of this.
Easily understandable.
It was amazing, an amazing experience.
And I'm already feeling more confident.
My mind has been blown.
Do it. You'll thank me later.
Fucking do it. Nothing else to it.
Oh, Alex, every time I hear you say that, I'm slightly going to go, well, that's very kind of you. Things my mum would never say. But again, that's a complex relationship we will not talk about. Now, there's a second part to my stage program as well I want to share. So I've realized that knowledge acquisition is important. But I've also noticed as a teacher, after teaching now for so long, that knowledge acquisition, that's not the only piece of the puzzle. Students don't see change when they just acquire new knowledge. They have to apply the knowledge. That's why my second stage program is called the Stage Virtual Masterclass. Now, this is where we join each other for 2.5 hours for 5 days consecutively. So we'll join each other from like a Monday to Friday, each day 2.5 hours. This is going to be on these Zoom sessions where you'll be joining hundreds of other students and we will be practicing live. For example, if we learn about vocal mastery, we practice vocal mastery live. If we learn about storytelling, we practice storytelling with real people. And again, if we learn about body language, we practice body language with real people. So again, this is dedicated time to practice. It's an interactive learning experience. This is where you go for knowledge application. And we've got classes all throughout the year. We've also scheduled in classes for next year as well. And you can join from anywhere in the world. So there are 5 2.5-hour sessions. Generally, they're from a Monday to a Friday. And again, we've got so many different time zones for you to select from. Here's what some of my students have to say about the Stage Virtual Masterclass. Here we go.
I signed up for the 5-day live stage virtual masterclass. It was terrifying and thrilling.
What an incredible 5-day journey that was.
Blending magic and communication.
Life-changing.
So engaging.
So informative.
I am just a different person.
And it just shows you what is possible in a virtual environment.
And a lot of us came out laughing on the other side.
It felt like you were sitting in an auditorium with him and he could literally see you.
Everything is just really fun. It will pay dividends for the rest of your life.
Oh, I love this. I love this. And did you hear one of them say it's so fun? Fun is one of my biggest values as a teacher. The teachers that created the most change in my life were fun. So one of my biggest values as a teacher is to be fun. Hopefully you experienced that while you're here with me in our class together today. And the Stage Virtual class, you get to pick one and then you come along to that one. And then again, the recordings are available. So if you miss a class, it's okay. You'll get the recordings and you've also got 12 months plus access to the recordings there too. So again, I want to recap for you why these two things are so important, okay? The first reason is the online course is for knowledge acquisition. So this is so important. And then the second part of the program is knowledge application. And I'm going to run a little bonus as well for those of you who decide to join us here, is I'm going to run an exclusive Q&A session too. So for those of you who are joining us and you're going to join me and choose me as your teacher, I'm going to run an exclusive 2.5-hour Q&A session to inspire you as well to kickstart your journey. So again, you've got the Stage Academy, the online course, the Stage Virtual, and then also Stage Session, where I'm going to be running 1 2-hour exclusive Q&A session where we can chat about how I grew on social media, anything you want to talk about. We'll jam on that. And if you miss it, we'll give you the recording too. I've spent over $250,000, if not more, on my training. But more than money, I've spent over 20 years working this out, so it doesn't take you 20 years. Sure, if you want to learn your own path and go down your own journey, that's fine. But there's always that quote, you know, we go further together. And I can help make that journey for you 12 months, not 20 years. That's the value I believe I offer as a teacher. And I want to share this with you now. And I normally do this for my corporate clients, but again, I want to serve the entire world. I'm leaving that corporate world training and I'm going to be here for all of you. And for the longest time, I've been trapped in the corporate world, but finally have enough courage to come out to the world. And I'd love to share with you the following. So have a look at this. I'll share this with you. And this is only for those of you who are here with me now. And it's, look, again, normally if you buy my online course, the Stage Academy, online, the Stage Academy is worth about $1,000. And then my Stage Virtual, that's worth $1,299. So again, if you add that as well to the Q&A that I normally do, that's worth $500. And if you don't forget, we've got knowledge acquisition, knowledge application, and you've got inspiration to get you started. So again, the Stage Bundle, which is all of this together would, again, my corporate clients pay me about $3,000 a person. But those of you who are here with me now, if you choose me as your teacher, then I want to share with you kind of a one-time price, and it's $899 USD. And that's there if you want to join me. And Dan's going to drop the link in the chat. I'm super excited if you do decide to join me. And you can see the full curriculum here on the page. Because again, I don't really share this on social media, so people don't know my full curriculum. But here you can look through the full curriculum, some lovely testimonials I'm very lucky to have. And I also wanted to show you this. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So again, if you join it and you consume less than 25% of my online course, and you contact us 30 days before the day you purchased, we're just going to give you your money back. Simply because if I don't help you create change and you don't see change, well then I don't want to take your money. I actually don't deserve your money if that's the case. So again, we have a very free and flexible money back guarantee. So please, I wanted to make this risk-free for you, especially if you've decided that this is something you want to work on in 2024. A couple of other questions, so we don't get so many questions, is, hey Vin, those live Zoom classes, the 5 classes you spoke about, when do you run them? Well, if you click the FAQ section, you'll see more information here. If you click that tab, you'll be able to see when I'm running the extra virtual masterclasses. So when you click it, you'll see the June dates, July, August, September, October, December, into 2025. My team did something really cool here where they said, oh, you're going to see it in your time zone, and then you also see it in my time zone. So I live in Adelaide. So in Adelaide, it will show my time zone, then a little bit of code, fancy, tells you what time it starts for yours. So when you click this page, you can kind of go, oh yeah, I can make the August one. Sweet, because in my time, it will be 6 p.m., it's after work. So we've got so many times here for you to be able to choose from, and you can pick one and come along, and it'll be, trust me, these virtual classes are so fun. Now, the second thing is people say, well, Vin, what's the difference between the Stage Academy, the online course, and the virtual? Simple. The online course is pre-recorded videos where you go to watch, acquire knowledge. The virtual masterclass, this is where you go to practice. This is where you'll see change. This is where you'll see transformation. And Vin, if I miss a day of the Stage Virtual Masterclass, what happens? You get the recording. It's over 12 months access to it, so don't stress. And Vin, do I need to finish the academy before I do virtual? No, you don't. You just need to watch boot camp, and if you've just watched boot camp, you're good to go. You're good to go in the Stage Virtual. And the last one is, well, Vin, how long do I get access to Stage Academy for? Can you just remind me? It's lifetime access with that one. Because I really believe that if you invest once into this, as I grow as a teacher, as I grow as a communicator, I want to continually update the online course to help you grow in your journey. This is the thing you invest in once, and it'll keep giving to you. We're about to do a major update in 3 days. In 3 days, we're about to upload another hour worth of content, and I'm super excited about that. So I built this studio because I continuously improve it. And then down here, if you want to join, you can join for $899 USD, or you can do it in payments, up to you. Got some lovely testimonials here as well, and you can check that out in your own time. I'm going to jump back to the other screen. So there's that. Hopefully that all makes sense for those of you who want to join me. Stop sharing screen. Okay. Jump back over here. Okay. We're back over here. Thank you for letting me share that. And hey, if you've joined, can you drop a fire emoji just to let me know? I want to call out some names too. I want to be able to call out some names and celebrate a few people. Yeah, let me know. Oh yes, we've got Avi. Oh wow. So this is so cool. Hey, it's so cool. I'm going to slow it down, call out a couple of names here. We've got Max, Umar, Gerbir, Harry. Oh my goodness, so many of you dropped the fire emoji. This is slightly overwhelming. I'm so excited to get to serve you all. And look, I want to ask you a quick question here, because I know that a lot of you are still curious about what's inside the Stage Academy. So let me give you a further sneak peek for those of you who are still thinking about it, okay? So let's walk through it, module by module, okay? I want to call out an elephant in the room too. I think in the world we live in today, and so cool to see so many people joining, this is amazing. But I think the world we live in today, there are so many people online that teach things that they themselves have not yet mastered. And that's why we live in a world filled with charlatans. This is another elephant in the room, where there are lots of people who teach the thing, but they don't do the thing they teach. And I think it's so important. That's why in module one of the online course, the first thing I do is I give you my keynote that I get paid $100,000 for. And I'll tell you why. And this is not about ego at all. But before you learn from me, I think it's really important that you check to see if I'm a master of what I say I am. And make sure that the proof is in the pudding. And you invest that hour and you go, okay, yeah, Vin is a great communicator. I will learn from him. So that's why I leave that as module one. So if people watch module one and they go, yeah, I'm better than Vin, then that's where you email my support team and get a refund, right? Clearly there's going to be people that are better than me and maybe you should teach. But again, I do this for your own due diligence because I know we live in a world now where there are just so many charlatans and I do not want to have anything to do with those. So please, that's module one. Now, I'm just going to make sure the chat is live. Oh, Dan's just quickly mentioning. I just want to celebrate a few people, if you don't mind. We got TDG Diversity, Sing Monk. We got Kate, John, Dustin, PTU, Williams, Hey, we got a cousin named Hey. Oliver, G, Sarah, May, Ben, Manis. Thank you for joining. It's so good to have you. I cannot wait to serve you later this year. And I celebrate my students because I know how scary it is taking that first step to learn a skill set that most neglect. So I just want to celebrate the students who are joining. And those of you who have joined, drop a fire emoji. We will celebrate you as well. And I'm going to keep walking you through the whole curriculum. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek. So don't worry, we're going to pick 3 lucky winners very soon. And we're also going to give everyone a copy of that PDF too. Now, module 2. Module 2 is where we dive deeper into the basics. The value you felt when I was teaching you the universal laws, we're going to go deeper into that. We're going to talk about the difference between vocal image and visual image. We're just going to get the lay of the land. We're going to set the foundation before we build a 55-story building. We have to build the foundations. So do your due diligence. Then we build the foundations, which is over an hour of this module, to really get you prepared moving forward. Get you in the right mindset, get rid of all those blocks so that we can create a path forward. Now, with module 3, this one I'm going to get a bit more specific with you on. This one, I created this module because my students ask me this question. They say, Vin, how do I improve the way I sound? So many people ask me this. So I dedicated an entire module, over an hour's worth of content on this specific problem. So module 3, we dive into vocal mastery. We spend an entire module on thinking about the way you sound. And this takes my years of vocal training all into this particular module from many different vocal teachers. I'm going to show you the metaphor I think of in my head when I teach communication skills. Again, you know, just like my vocal teacher taught me, your voice is an instrument. So I see people when they're using their voice, I see them using it as an instrument. So here's the metaphor. Sometimes I see people with their instrument and they play their voice, they play their instrument like this, metaphorically. They play it like this. You see, and I see this, I walk around in life every day and I see people playing their instrument like this. This module is going to create the inspiration and the how-to to teach you how to use your instrument like this. That's the difference. You see, because when you start to realize the instrument you have access to, when you realize that you've been sleeping on this instrument your entire life, when you start to learn the lessons within vocal mastery, this is what unlocks a beautiful sound. It's what unlocks a more engaging sound. It's what unlocks a more persuasive sound. It's what unlocks more connection, more fulfillment, and more growth. And you're probably thinking, well, Vin, that's a piano. Could you show us a real student example? Absolutely. I'm going to show you one of my students before they learned vocal mastery and then after. So I'm going to show you a before, then after, but I want you to pay one piece of attention to this, okay? In the before, they haven't realized that their voice is an instrument. And in the after, they only applied one of the lessons I shared in vocal mastery. So you're going to see a before, and then you're going to see an after with a screen in the middle. This is super inspiring. Check this out. See if you can guess what movie this is from.
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty world. I don't care how tough you are. You'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna get hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you're hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you are worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean place and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, nobody's gonna get hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit.
Give me some quiet now.
It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying that you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or not anybody. Cowards do that. And that ain't you. You are better than that.
Oh, I love this, but you see this. When I have my students in sight and I see you, I do see you. I see a future where you don't learn how to communicate and then all of your gifts and talents are hidden. And then I see what happens when you learn how to use your instrument and then the world cannot deny you of what you are worth. So to me, this is the skill that unlocks our potential. Like so many of you, you wrote, wow, that was a transformation. That was amazing. That was applying one lesson from the world of vocal mastery. That's the power of shifting the way you sound. In module 4. So again, we want to celebrate a couple of the students. Thank you for clapping, Dan. Just want to quickly, True Clients Pro. I guess that's not your name. That's a company name. We've got Skostel. We've got Betty, JM, Hessa, Kate, Sally, Jim. We've got Sommer. We've got Fadsel, Mink, Robert, Turk, Dr. L. Hello, Dr. L. And we've got Darren, John, Shripad, and Barex. Hey, thank you so much for joining. You know, I believe in this quote in the world of success, and the quote is, you are the direct reflection of the top 5 people you spend time with, right? You are the average of the 5 people you spend time with. The reason I bring this up is all of you are now a part of my top 5 this year in 2024. So it's inevitable that you are going to improve your communication skills. I cannot wait to serve you. I cannot wait to be there to help you amplify the best parts of who you are. And for those of you who have joined, drop a fire emoji. Let us know. This is absolutely awesome. Okay, thank you, Dan. Number 4, module number 4. Module number 4 is to answer this question where a lot of my students ask, hey Vin, how can I become more dynamic and increase my level of authority? People always want to be more, I guess, have more authority, and they want to be able to improve that. That's what module 4 is for, which is called vocal archetypes. And vocal archetypes, again, we focus on voice a lot because people mostly neglect their voice. And vocal archetypes are the different energies that exist, the different characters that exist in you. This my goodness. This, when you learn the 4 key vocal archetypes to use, you use them in job interviews to become more dynamic, friendly when you need to be, more authority when you need to be, and you also want to be able to display confidence when you need to. And this is about shifting vocal archetypes. Now, with Module 5, I'm going to share with you Module 5 as well. Module 5, this is to answer the following question where my students ask this. Vin, how do I level up my influence? Really, when it comes to influence, this bit's going to blow your mind. If you want to become more influential, do you know what the answer is? Storytelling. It's actually storytelling. I'm going to share with you something. I lived in the US for about 5 years. And while I lived in the US, as I was learning communication skills, I wanted to learn from the best. Okay? I didn't want to go to the corner shop vocal teacher. I wanted to learn from the best. This is why I spent time in the US to study, to learn from the greatest. And there's no better person to learn storytelling from than producers in Hollywood. So I remember one of the people that I wanted to learn from, his name's Brian Grazer. So some of you may not know who Brian Grazer is, but you may know some of the movies he's produced. So to me, I sought him out and I wanted to learn from him. And I had an opportunity to learn from Brian. And I want to share with you this video of me and Brian. And it's of Brian's storytelling. And watch how he captivates an audience. And that audience that's you're going to see him and me speaking to, it's over 6,000 people. Watch him captivate these people. And watch his storytelling ability. Check this out. I couldn't believe I got to learn from this man. I put all the lessons inside the Stage Academy. But check this out. This is Brian. Watch how he storytells.
O2.
Look, let's have a little bit of fun. I just want to rapid fire some questions at you. Oh. You've done amazing. Yeah. First question, Brian, your biggest movie failure.
Okay, on Apollo 13, we're going to the Oscars.
Yes.
And everyone says, you're going to win the Oscar. You're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win. I'm thinking we're going to win. I'm sitting at the aisle right here, 5 rows from Sidney Poitier, who's got the envelope in his hand. Oh. Literally. Right next to me is Ron Howard, then Jim Lovell, then Tom Hanks. And what happens is, I'm thinking we're going to win because everybody told us we're going to win. I got my speech right there.
Oh, no.
And as Sidney Poitier opens the envelope, I see him pull it out, and he's got a bee rolling off his lip, almost imperceptible. So when I see the bee, I get up.
Oh, no.
To win the Oscar.
Oh, that's so bad.
And as I approach, they say, Braveheart.
Oh.
And so I just about crawl back to my seat. I'm so embarrassed. I mean, I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed that I actually, everything is going in slow motion. I see one of my friends that ran a different studio, puts a big L like loser on his, I remember, he did that on his, he literally did.
That's someone you unfriend from Facebook for sure.
So then, that was not good. So then I sit down, I'm so embarrassed because the camera was on me the entire time.
Oh.
And I got the L in my mind, everything's going down, it's bad. I look over, Jim Lovell grabs my wrist like this and he goes, I never made it to the moon either. Oh. And I thought, I put it in perspective. So that was a huge bummer.
Wow, that's that is.
Yeah, that's better than talking about the flops, man.
Yeah. Oh, you should have just pretended you were going to the toilet. He was like, no, I'm just going to the toilet. What the hell? He was just, Brian.
I should have known you.
Well,
I would have had the idea.
We could have totally segued.
I know.
And you could have just went, no, the bathroom. Yeah.
All right, I'll go faster on the next one. Okay.
I love that one, though.
All right, okay.
That's a massive failure, for sure. No, I feel... No, we'll stop it there. I love to just kind of tease my teachers a little. But I just want you to know that when I studied storytelling, I wanted to study storytelling from the world's best. And I'm going to show you what happens when you study storytelling from the best. And you're going to learn. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and this part's going to freak you out. This is going to freak you out, okay? Over an hour and a half ago, I shared with you a story. And you're going to find yourself remembering every single detail of the story that I shared. Because the structure of storytelling is everything to influence. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Let's see if you can answer them. This is going to freak you out. Question number 1. And watch the people who answer this in the chat and get it right. How many months did I have left in my university degree? How many months did I have left? Yes, look at this. It was 6 months. I said that once, and I said that over an hour and a half ago. That one piece of detail, you remember it. Here's going to freak you out again. Now, next question. Watch how many people are getting this correct. Next question. My parents were in the lounge room, and then after that, they left to which room of the house? Which room did they go into the house? Yes, look at how many people, look. Okay. Next question I'm gonna ask you. I said this quote once. I said, my dad said to me, he said, in this life, you need to jump as high as you can. I'll forever be your... Case closed. This is the part that I'm going to connect for you that's going to really blow your mind. Let me ask you another question here, and feel free to type no. It's okay, I understand. I'm not for everyone. How many of you here, type yes if you feel a connection with me. Type yes if you feel a connection. Look at this, look at this. Look, there are some no's there, and that's okay, that's totally fine. But it's 99% of people feel a connection with me. Let me ask you this question. Why do you feel that with me? This is the lesson that we've had to switch over to this other camera because something happened to our other camera. I guess this is how you know it's live. So look, back to what I was saying. The reason why you feel connected to me is because when you storytell in the right way, what it does is it allows people to form a deeper connection with you. They're able to form a much deeper connection with you. Why? Because they remember the things you say. Now it's not Vinh, the communication teacher. Now it's Vinh who quit university 6 months before the degree ended. Now it's Vinh that the parents tried to kill him and had another child. Now it's also Vinh that has a Brad that he doesn't like, and Brad seems to get all the girls. Now it's Vinh that had one friend named Kevin. And if you notice yourself remembering all of this, that is why you feel a deeper connection with me. And when you have this deeper connection with other people, this is what gives you more influence. That's truly what gives you more influence. Now, I'm just going to bring up my backup slides here, and this is why it's so important to always have backups upon backups. But I'll bring up my backup slide here, and I'll share this with you because there are other modules as well inside the course, and I want to share with you all these modules and why they're so important. So that was storytelling, okay? That was the importance of storytelling. Now there's another module, and if you don't mind taking notes on this, this is module 6, okay? Module number 6. Module number 6 is body language. Now, your body language, it introduces you before you even do. And it answers this question that I get a lot from my students. And my students always ask me this question. The question is, hey, Vinh, how do I improve my level of presence? You know, in the corporate world, they call this executive presence. You know, how do you have more executive presence? And the way you have more executive presence is with better body language. This is why some people are more influential and some are not. So I'm going to share with you now body language, and in body language, we deep dive into posture, hand gestures, facial expressions, movement. We go into every single little bit of body language. And I want to share with you, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring up my slides here. Now, when it comes to body language, one of the greatest forms of accolade you can give a keynote speaker is a standing ovation. And I can tell you now, for the longest time in my career, I didn't get a standing ovation. I didn't get a standing ovation, and I couldn't understand why. And I wanted more influence. Like, I wanted to be able to influence rooms with 10 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 6,000 people. I wanted to level up my influence, and I never got a standing ovation. And for the longest time, I couldn't understand why. So I'm going to show you one body language technique that can actually get you standing ovations. Check this out. Watch what I do with my hands. Watch this. Good luck. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate your help. Thank you very much. Did you notice what I did with my hands? They say they can't see. Can you see? Okay, good. You can see. Watch this again. Watch my hands. Watch my hands. Okay, I'm going to show you again in slow motion, okay? This room has over 6,500 people. Watch this, and I'm going to explain it to you specifically. Here, watch this. Oh, did you see it? Oh, did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? Let me explain specifically. What I did was, as I finish my talk, I take a bow, and then as I take a bow, I lock eyes with the person in the front row, very specific. So then I look at the person in the front row, then I do this. And then as I do that, the person in the front row goes, and then they don't know why they're standing. And then the reason you get the person in the front row to stand is because then every single person behind them sees them stand. And then they feel pressured to give the standing, oh, he's fantastic. And that's how you execute a standing ovation. I share that example with you because I take a videographer everywhere I go. I employ 2 full-time videographers. We film every single workshop, every single presentation. We break down every single part of body language to teach you how to use your body language more effectively. I want you to watch this video of one of my students. Just by improving their body language, watch how it changes them. Check this out. Before and after. This is the before.
I definitely enjoyed the serenity of walking along the beach. It was relaxing.
Wonderful voice, but again, watch what happens when you add body language.
The mind encompasses everything. It's everything that you are. In actual fact, 95% of what we do is completely habitual.
You see, the moment you do this, you improve one step at a time, one step at a time. And that improvement was in a week. And you just 1% at a time, 1% at a time. And as you do this more and more and more, before you know it, you transform into a completely different person. Next one, module number 7. And thank you for bearing with us with all the technical difficulties. Module number 7, this one is to answer the following question. Vin, what I talk about at work is so boring. How do I make it more exciting? How do I make it more fun? How do I add more life to my conversations? I got you. That is what module 7 is for. Module 7 is about what I call AMS. And AMS stands for analogies, metaphors, and similes. So we deep dive into how to create analogies, metaphors, and similes and use more of them in our everyday speech to make what we talk about more fun. And I can tell you right now, this is the ultimate rapport building device. People every day are using unconscious analogies, metaphors, and similes. And when you tap in and you use the unconscious analogies, metaphors, and similes they use, you build rapport like that. Oh, celebrating some of the students, sorry. We've got some of the students. We've got T. Kachora, we've got Karis, Joanne, LSBUMG. We've also got Arasta, we've got Arthur, we've got McCleveland, we've got Ijastando, we've got Toe, Cabera, Regule, we've got Sam, Henry, Adita, I think I saw your name in the chat. We've got Jeff, Andrew, Andre, Sue, and Michael. Congratulations, welcome to the stage programs. Hey, this is such a huge part of my purpose in this period of my life right now. I genuinely don't know how long I'm going to teach communication skills for because there are other things that I'm really excited about in my life to do. But in this chapter of my life, I will dedicate myself completely to serving my students. I cannot wait to meet you all. And if those of you who've joined, we didn't get you up here, please do drop a fire emoji. I want to celebrate all of my students. Well done for taking the first step. I'm so proud of you. Okay. Now, with module number 8, and again, thank you for letting me share all my modules. Module number 8, this is to address this question. People say, Vin, I have lots of friends, but I don't know how to build deeper connections with people. How do I deepen the connection that I have? How do I improve the quality of my relationships? I got you. That's what module 8 is for. Active listening. Active listening. And do you remember how I said to you all, fun is a huge part of my teaching philosophy? So I want to share with you one of the videos, one of the classes from my listening module. And please understand, what I'm about to show you is one of the forms of passive listening. So this is how you don't want to listen. This is bad, don't do this. But here's a sample of how I teach listening, just so you get a bit of a sense of what it's like learning with me. You'll realize I'm a man-child. Have a look at this. This is passive listening, one of the forms. Don't do this. Have a look at this.
So Vin, I'm really thinking about becoming a professional archer and joining the Olympics.
Man, there's no way you're going to be able to become a professional archer. How are you going to make a living? How are you going to pay your bills? You're just going to try and then fail miserably and then come back and work for me as a videographer anyway.
Your time. So that's what I'm thinking about, and I'm really excited for it.
You should not become a professional archer. That sounds like a terrible idea, Craig.
Oh, goodness. You know, we designed our online course so that as you watch it, you want to binge it, right? We designed it with humor at heart. We also created it so it's experiential. So even the online course, even though it's pre-recorded, we want to make it like a Netflix show. When you watch it, you're like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what happens to Craig next. And trust me, it gets way worse for Craig. All right. When you learn active listening, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to be able to make people feel understood. You're going to be able to make people feel a sense of connection. You'll make people feel heard, and you'll make people feel seen. You know that is an absolute superpower. When you learn how to do this, you deepen your relationships. Module number 9. Oh yes, we'll come to that right after module 9. Module 9 is people ask the question, they say, Vin, how do I get rid of a shaky voice? Vin, I've got a really shaky voice and I don't know, how do I get rid of that? Again, we're going back to voice for a moment, right? And Vin, I also forget what I'm going to say when I'm under pressure. And Vin, how do I remember my entire presentation? How do I prepare for my job interviews? Oh, this is what module 9 is for, and it's how to deal with nerves. A lot of the times when I see my students go into job interviews, the reason they miss out on the job opportunity, it's not because they weren't capable. Sometimes it's not even because their communication skills are bad. Often it's because they don't know how to manage their nerves. And when you don't know how to manage your nerves, your communication skill drops, your confidence level drops. So I've got a whole module dedicated to this. And I want you to watch one of my students, right? When she does something and she feels nervous, this is what happens. Have a look at this.
When we usually fix our diet or start exercising when our body is falling apart. Your self-worth is not equal to your network. I am my body. You have one, but you're not at it. In a nutshell, pain is a message to change your thinking. And I noticed that about those joyous people who have dedicated themselves to a spiritual life.
So then when I share with my students how to really manage the nerves, watch what she's able to do from that. Not only does it improve confidence, it improves her articulation. It makes her even clearer to understand. And have a listen to this.
It's Dr. Sonia here from Brisbane, Australia. I am in Las Vegas at a conference. It's an international audience. We have people from Zimbabwe. We have people from Colombia, UK, Canada.
That's the power of learning how to manage nerves. Can you see the difference? It's a different person. And you've got to agree that when you walk into a job interview, which one are you showing up as? Work on your communication skills. Work on your ability to storytell. Work on your body language. Then after that, learn how to manage your nerves. And then you show up as your best self. And you'll get the career path you absolutely deserve. Quickly celebrating a few of our students here. We've got Dee DeBowler. We've got Ash. We've got Asim. We've got Kritika. We've got Pamku, Lele, we've got Andre, AKD, we've got Rajesh, Andy, Louise, we've got Drira, we've got Amga, Antona, we've got Garand, we've got Vince, that's what my father-in-law calls me, we've also got B Chow, and we've also got Council. Hello, welcome to the stage bundle. Hey, I'm so excited to meet you. I can't wait to share with you the last couple of modules we have, and then we're gonna give away the PDFs, pick 3 winners, Dan. So let's get ready, get the drum rolling. We're getting ready for this. Now, that's nerves. And then, look, I want to show you module 10 as well, right? When we get to module 10, this answers the question where people ask, Vin, how do I become more confident? You've got a taster of the confidence module, but we go way deeper into confidence in the Stage Virtual Masterclass. We go way deeper into it. And when you go into self-confidence, it is the key thing that improves everything. It improves your body language, your voice use, everything. And I want to show you an example for one of my students. And this was change that she was able to create within 3 months of leveling up her confidence. Because she learned all the voice, she learned all of the vocal techniques, all of the body language techniques, but we weren't still seeing much change. And then I realized, it's not to do with that. She cerebrally understands that. This is more about confidence. So we kind of attack this from many different angles. Check out the before and check out the after. A whole different human. Check this out.
And I'm really excited about that, getting clarity around what my message is.
You see that? Watch what happens after, and this was unbelievable.
Thank you in advance for your feedback. I see the bigger version of me. So Vin, thank you so much.
I love this. I mean, it's just a small glimpse of this, right? And then please understand that you don't always have to be like that. You can switch it on and you can switch it off. It's like a car. There are multiple gears. And what you do is when you need to engage the gear, you engage the gear, but when you don't need to, then just switch it off. It's okay. When I sit on the couch and I just hang out on the couch with all my friends, I don't have to do all of this. I can switch it off. But the powerful thing that I have and all my students have is we have that gear that we can move into when we need to be influential. When we need to be more impactful, we're able to do it. That's the power of preparation. That's the power of practicing before you need it. Because you see people in life, you see them as being lucky. Well, do you know what the definition of luck is? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So for those of you who are deciding to join me in the stage programs, I'm so proud of you because you are doing the preparation that's required so that you can be extremely lucky in this life. Now, Dan, we are going to pick the winners. We already have. So if you see your name on this next screen, you have to be here to win this. And if you're not here, my team will pick new people. So I'm going to switch screens. And once I switch screens, you'll see the names. So here we go. Boom. We've got Gopi Kulandia. Congratulations. Well done. We've got Alex Cleghorn. And then we've also got Nikki Casabom. So we've got 3 winners. Congratulations. Well done. It's so good to have you. And can I just call out something super beautiful? I love all the people right now who are congratulating and cheering these people on. We live in a world now where people are so sometimes upset and angry when other people win and they didn't win. But I know we have a group of incredible humans here because look at the love that's in the chat right now. It gives me hope for humanity. It truly does. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being so wonderful that even though you didn't win this, you're sharing so much love in the chat. That just goes to show how beautiful of a soul you are. So I'm proud of you. That's why I also want to now give out the free PDF, because I just want to encourage all of you who are still here, cheering others on, even though maybe you didn't get to win that course. So here's where you find the PDF. Again, we are getting all fancy, but I do have to share my screen here for you. So this is where you're going to find that PDF. Let me bring it up. Here we go. You just linked it for them, Dan? Did you link it for them, you said? Oh, so Dan just linked the PDF. Oh, so thank you, Dan. Dan dropped the link, and I'll share with you what you're looking for here. What you're looking for is, if you look at this screen that Dan has dropped the link for, when you go to this link, on the bottom, you'll be able to download that self-awareness assessment. So please, that's where you go to go download that, and go check that out. There you go. All right, everyone. That's where you find that, and we're going to jump over and do some Q&A. So we're switching over to do some Q&A. This is an exciting part. I absolutely love this. This is super fun. And hey, to those of you who've joined, thank you. I absolutely love teaching communication skills. In this chapter of my life, this has become a big part of my purpose. And I'm so excited to serve you. I'm so excited to be there for you on your journey. And I'm so excited to get to be a part of your story. You know, I think communication skills is the skill we use to write the story that we get to live. I really believe in this quote before I dive into the questions. And the quote that I believe in is, reality is negotiable. I'll say it again. Reality is negotiable. Think about the world we live in right now. We've got thousands of people joining us from all over the world. All over the world. I'm able to now serve thousands of students from all over the world from my studio. We have kids online on YouTube doing toy reviews and getting paid $1 gazillion to do so. We have incredible people who teach others how to make worm farms and make an incredible living out of this. We're living in a world now where reality is truly negotiable. Where you're going with this, Vin? This is where I'm going. Well, think about this. What skill do you use to negotiate the reality you desire? What skill do you use? It's your communication skills. This is why I teach this. This is the most exciting time to be alive, because as you improve the skill set, you can negotiate whatever reality you desire. All right, let's jump into some Q&A. Let's do it. I'm excited. Now, as I go into the Q&A, here we go. We've got, oh gosh, my goodness, we've got a lot of questions here. Let's jump straight into the first one. Hey, Vin, I just wanted to share, is this course just for people who want to be public speakers? This is Gabriel. No, Gabriel. Like I said in the beginning of the class, you might have missed that. When it comes to this online course, you have to reframe how you think about public speaking. Public speaking is not just when you step on stage and speak. Anytime you open your mouth in public, that is a form of public speaking. Whether it's to one person, 10 people, or 100 people. Especially when you're sitting in front of a job interview. That is a form of public speaking. And if you fail with that particular form of public speaking, this is where you miss out on so many opportunities in life. So again, no, this is not just for public speakers. And here's the fascinating thing. What makes a great communicator on stage and off stage are very similar. Very similar. All right, let me jump to the next question. I'm jumping around the questions a bit because, again, I want to give love to the people who asked it early and then people who asked questions recently. We've got a question from Harsh here. Harsh Goswami says, Vin, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? There are many ways to think about imposter syndrome. I used to think of imposter syndrome as this really mean voice in my head that's like, oh, Vin, you're not good enough. You're never going to be good enough, Vin. You're not credible. You're a fraud. And I used to have that voice for my imposter syndrome. Whereas I understand the purpose of the imposter syndrome. I understand why it's there. It's there because it's trying to protect me from being really crap. So I've reframed my imposter syndrome. My imposter syndrome doesn't sound like that anymore. My imposter syndrome now sounds like this. Hey, Vin, just reminding you, make sure you do the prep before you run these masterclasses. Make sure you have backups. Make sure you got backup cameras in case things go wrong. Make sure when something fails, you don't just fall apart. Make sure you stay composed. Make sure you prepare. Because you want to make sure you can be the best version of you at all times, but that requires preparation. So you see, my imposter syndrome now doesn't sound like this mean person saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. It's a reminder to not become complacent. I really believe that imposter syndrome serves a purpose. It ensures that we don't become this person who promises the world and then doesn't deliver. It's there to protect us. It has good intentions. Sometimes it just sounds bad. So I've changed the way that it sounds in my head. And that has completely changed my relationship with imposter syndrome. Okay. Jump to another question here. And thank you for hanging out, everyone. I see you all in the chat there as well. It's beautiful of you. This is lovely. I love this Q&A component. It's really fun here. All right, so we've got a couple more questions here. Let me have a look at which one here. All right, got a lot of questions here. Hey Vin, Santiago says, hey Vin, I speak English as a third language as well. Will this course help me in my situation? Yeah, Santiago, you got to remember too, maybe you missed this part. English is also my third language. So high five to English as third languages, right? I had to learn how to improve my articulation. I had to learn how to improve my pronunciation. All of this was learned. Whereas when I used to speak English, I used to slur my words because I didn't know any better. And let me tell you one of the reasons why I struggled with English so much, and maybe those of you who are English as a second language can relate. When I was speaking English, you know, when I used to speak it like this. And again, you could just kind of think it's an exaggeration, but it's not an exaggeration. This is how I used to talk. And one of the reasons I used to talk like that, and people would call that mumbling, the reason I do this is because when I speak Vietnamese, when I speak the languages, Vietnamese and Chinese, I actually don't have to move my mouth a lot. And watch this, right? I'll speak some Vietnamese. Như Vinh là người Việt Nam, tôi là Vinh San ở nước Úc. So I can speak Vietnamese quite clearly without moving my mouth much. Whereas when it comes to the English language is one of the very rare languages, even European languages, you don't need to open your mouth that much. But with the English language, if you don't open your mouth and you don't move your lips, then it causes you to sound like you're mumbling. And most people never see that connection, again, unless they're obsessed about communication skills like I have. So what you've got to understand is, I've created the course with all of this in mind. I've got so many students who are from Asia, from all different parts of Europe, even from Africa as well. And I'm conscious of the different types of behaviors we have to adjust when we're improving our articulation and pronunciation. So understand that, yeah, it's not just for people who speak English as a first language, because that wasn't me. And in a way, I kind of created my course for the younger version of me. You know, that younger version of me where I had no guidance. And like I said to you, it took me 20 years to get here. It shouldn't have taken me 20 years. And I shouldn't have spent so much resources, emotionally, money, time. I wish there was a more direct path. And that's the inspiration behind my stage programs, is I wanted to create a direct path from you here now to this time next year. You've completely transformed. And that's why I have the videos of my students to share with you, that you'll be shocked. Just by going through a few of the modules, by learning a few key particular behavioral changes, that alone, 3 things will completely change the way you come across. You'll become a completely new person just from changing very minor things. It's kind of crazy. All right, next question. Jumping on here. All right. Everyone, I know that we've had a few spammers here. Please do be careful, okay? Because we unfortunately can't stop all the spam. And there are people in the audience that they do steal your payment information, and then you end up having to cancel your credit card, etc. We've had a lot of our social media people tell us this, so just please be aware of that. Be very careful of that, obviously. Just kind of a PSA. Next question, here we go. Hey Vin, this is from Garvit. Garvit says, hey Vin, when I speak to someone, I sometimes get a lot of brain fog and I don't know what to say. Garvit, there's a deeper problem here. When we're meeting new people, one of the reasons we get flustered, anxiety, we get scared, we feel fear, we feel nervous, those are the emotions that create brain fog, okay? Now, in order to not feel those emotions that then leads to brain fog, you need to address them one by one. One of the reasons that people fear speaking to someone new is because we live in a world now where we're all so addicted to our devices. We're so addicted to our phones that we are good at texting, but we are no longer good at communicating, especially when it comes to other human beings. That's why I said that this is one of the greatest competitive advantages ever. If you learn this in this period of life, as the world becomes more AI driven, as the world becomes more focused on here, there is an incredible opportunity. This is why you find that so many people are following people online who are great communicators, is because people are yearning for that connection. People are yearning for a place where they feel connected to someone, because in their everyday lives, they're not getting that connection because most people are not proficient at communication. So as the world becomes more technical, we need to become better with the skill set. And I really believe this. This is a bit of a bold statement, but I fundamentally believe this. We live in a world now where people are more depressed than ever. And one of the reasons for that is because I'd rather pick up my phone and scroll for 30 minutes than pick up my phone and call a friend. I'd rather go watch a Netflix movie for 2.5 hours. I'd much rather that than actually go out and, hey, we haven't caught up in a while, let's go out for a coffee. It's because we're starving human connection. And one of the reasons we're starving human connection is because we've lost that ability. Because the world where people have learned a new behavior, and their new behavior is this. That's the new behavior. And more than ever, we feel unfulfilled. More than ever, we are next to people, but we don't feel depth, we don't feel fulfillment, we don't feel love and connection. It's one of the main reasons I teach this. I teach this because I see this as a bit of a plague, and I've got the antidote for it. I've been able to build this beautiful connection with millions of people all over the world. But more than the people online, I've been able to also build this connection with Dan, with my wife, with the people that I love. And I want you to know that this is a learnable skill that you can learn too. And it will heal you. It really does. I really think it's medicine for the modern world that we live in today. And to answer the question again, Garvit, I think we have to slowly learn the skill sets. As you learn to become more confident with your voice, as you learn to become a better storyteller, as you learn to be more comfortable with your body language, comfortable in your own skin, when you meet people, you'll be less nervous, you'll be less fearful, which decreases the amount of brain fog that you experience. So much of that happens as a result of so many other problems that we often don't think about. And we think, oh, it's the brain fog. You know, there's so many other foundational things. We notice the symptoms, we don't realize the cause of it. All right. Someone said, why didn't you become an actor? Oh goodness, because I'd be terrible. But thank you for believing in me. All right, a couple of questions here. Jonathan! Jonathan's got a banger. Jonathan's got a banger question here. I do have to share this. Jonathan says, hey Vin, with 3 exclamation marks. What is the question you'd like to people ask? Let me say that again. Jonathan asks, hey Vin, what is the question you would like people to ask you more? And what is your answer to it? And Vin, thanks for showing up live. It's really valuable. Well, thanks, Jonathan, for saying thank you. I appreciate you. The question that I wish people ask me more is, Vin, what is the main reason for learning communication skills? Outside of influence, outside of more money, outside of more career progress. Look, those things are a given. When you can see what communications can do from my perspective, which I know some of you may not be able to, I understand that. But I've seen this ability change my students' lives in so many ways. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it time and time again. To me, it's normal. You're going to get the career growth. You're going to make more money. You're going to have more career progress. You're going to be able to build better connections with the people around you. You'll be able to be more confident. Here's a bold one. When you teach communication skills like me, do you know what I call my students? And for those of you who've joined, this is the word I use to call all of you. all of you being my students, you are all now known as luminaries. Yes, my programs are all called Stage, and it's kind of fitting because Shakespeare's birthday was yesterday, and Shakespeare has a beautiful quote where he says, "All of life is a stage." And one of the main reasons I called my program Stage is because I believe every day you step onto many different stages and you play many different roles. For example, I wake up in the morning. Do you know what the first stage I step on is? The stage of fatherhood, because my son's the first to wake up. So I step onto the stage being a father. And I make sure I use my instrument and I use my body language to show love, compassion, care, support, fun. And then what do I do once he's ready for school? I then step onto the stage as a husband. And then what do I do after that? I step onto the stage in my studio as a teacher. So to me, the reason I call all of my programs Stage is because all of this life is a stage. You will step onto many different stages and you will play many different roles in this life. And as you improve your communication skills, you show up better on every single stage, in every single stage of life. So why do you call your students luminaries, Vin? Well, I call you luminaries because it's a double meaning. The first meaning is luminary means an actor or an actress. And it's so fitting for my online course because you're an actor and an actress on the stage, right? You are the main person. You're the main part of the show for your stage. And there's a second meaning to the word luminary that I love. And for those of you who've joined the stage program with me, type #luminaries. I can see luminaries lighting up the chat. Because the second definition of the word luminary is you are a source of light. That's what you are. You're a source of light. And to all of my students who are here, if you decide to join me, my main mission and purpose for teaching communication skills is this. I want to inspire my students to use their voice to spread more love, to spread more kindness, and to spread more compassion. You know, you can use your voice to hurt people. You can use your voice to cause others misery. We can see this happening. This is happening all over the world. You don't have to look far to see this. You see this happening in the news. Sometimes one person using their voice for evil can cause so much turmoil, cause so much pain, cause so much hurt. So when I teach luminaries, as I inspire thousands of luminaries around the world, I ask my students only one thing. I ask you to use your voice to spread more love, kindness, and compassion. Because don't underestimate this. And thank you, Jonathan, for letting me say this, because this is a big passion of mine. When I go later today to the grocery store, because we need to get some more food, if I see someone having a bad day, say I'm at the cashier and I can see they're having a bad day, I actually can use my voice to make that person feel better, right? Or I can use that voice to make them feel nothing. Or worse, I can use my voice to make them feel even worse. Or I could say, hey, tell me the most exciting or interesting person you've met today, right? Or I can ask them, hey, what are you most excited about once you get off work today? I want to know. I know we're putting through the groceries now, but what are you super excited about doing later today? And just from something simple as this, I can brighten someone's day. Don't discount the ripple effect of that. Don't discount the ripple effect of that. Because if you use your instrument in a certain way, make someone feel better for that certain day, they will go home and maybe they will be a source of light for their children. Maybe they'll be a source of light for their community after that. And I kid you not, this is exactly what happened to me 2 weeks ago. So I was standing in line and I was having a chat with the cashier and I was having a little bit of fun. Like, what are you most excited about happening after today, etc. We got this beautiful chat going on. There was an old lady standing behind me. And I saw her laughing a couple of times because I must have said something funny. And then I got to the end of my turn, paid for everything. And then I forgot to buy a bag because we need to buy bags now to put all the stuff in. So I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot to buy the bag. I've only got my phone. I can only pay by card. And their minimum spend was $10. So the lady behind me, I kid you not, she goes, honey, I'm going to pay for you. That's going to be my good deed for the day. I saw how you lifted that lady's spirit. I'm going to lift yours. I'm going to pay for your $1 bag. And she paid for a $1 bag for me. She paid for this $1 bag, and it was just this beautiful exchange, which would normally just be, hi, just those, thank you, all right, see you later. But then this beautiful exchange happened. Then I turned around to her, the old lady who purchased me the bag, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do something really kind for someone today because of your kindness. I want you to know that you've started a ripple effect, and we are not going to know where it ends because I'm going to go in the next 24 hours and do something extremely kind for someone, and you are not going to know where it ends. And she just goes, my goodness, honey, you just made my day. And I was like, no, you made mine. A little bit cheesy, but again, when you learn how to communicate effectively, as luminaries, everywhere we go, we can create ripples of change. Or we can choose not to and use our voice to hurt others. Or we can use our voice to create no ripple, no impact, nothing. So you see, that is one of the biggest reasons as to why I teach this, is during my classes, I push my students as luminaries. So hello, fellow luminary, welcome to the club. And you are now bound by the rules of stage as a luminary to use your voice to spread more love, kindness, compassion, and of course, a little bit of cheeky fun, because that's what we're about. So yeah, welcome luminaries to the first step in your journey. I'm excited for you. All right, we'll take one more. And the last one is, Vin, how do I solve the articulation problem? Okay, so this is the easiest exercise you can do, which will completely transform the way you sound, okay? And you only want to do this for about 5 minutes to 8 minutes max. And each time you do it, 5 to 8 minutes max, because it's exhausting. And you want to do it around 4 to 6 times a day if you're really serious about improving this. But I'll space it out, okay? I'll space it out. 5 minutes when you're starting. Grab a book. And when you first grab a book, what you do is this. When you read the book, understand that one of the main reasons why people find others hard to understand, it's because, let's say I learned Vietnamese. I learned all of the mouth movements from the Vietnamese language first. Then when I learned English, I'm now trying to use the Vietnamese mouth movements to speak English. And that's what creates poor articulation, which often causes people to think, oh, my accent is horrible. Oh, my accent puts people off. My accent. No. It's not your accent. It's actually poor articulation. And it's people not realizing that in order to be a better communicator, you need to improve your articulation, not change your accent. You need to improve your articulation. Your accent is beautiful. Your accent is lovely. It's what makes us all so unique and flavorful. So here's how you practice articulation, is you understand that English requires me to learn a whole new set of mouth movements. Here's how you practice that. So when you're reading the book, you overdo the mouth movements. So if I was reading this, I'll do it like this. The root of all fear, the craving to become causes fear. To be, to achieve, to do so depends. Notice what I'm doing? What I'm doing is I'm training the new mouth movements. And when you do this, your mouth will feel sore. And if it does feel sore, it's because you're learning a new set of mouth movements. And as you learn the new set of mouth movements and the new set of tongue movements, it improves your articulation and also your pronunciation, which makes you better to understand. Hey, we're going to be deep diving into this and so much more in the stage bundle. So for those of you who've joined me, to all my luminaries, thank you. And to those of you who may not have been able to join because of certain circumstances, also understand that I got you too. This is why I create content online. I want to create more impact. I put one piece of content out every single day on every single platform because I'm aware that not everyone can join me. But for those of you who are, and you're ready, don't wait. Because I'll tell you the one thing that has stopped me, and this is the last thing we'll end on. The thing that has stopped me from changing my life has been self-doubt. I don't know if you feel it, but I do. Often I don't do something because I think I'm not capable. I just think to myself, oh, it's no point, Vin. There's no point learning about how to invest money because you've never learned it your whole life, so there's no point learning it. There's no point, Vin, learning how to exercise and lose weight because you're not going to be able to do it. There's no point, Vin, learning how to communicate because English is a third language and you're stuck sounding the way you sound. And I always attach that to my inability to do something. I think I'm not capable. And I learned this lesson in my mid-20s, and we'll end on this story. When I was in my mid-20s, I was $500,000 in debt because I built an online business teaching magic tricks, and I spent too much on Google Ads. So I was $500,000 in debt. And I remember my dad coming over to my house. I was sitting in the garage just feeling like I'm the biggest failure. I could have bought a whole house with that. And my dad says, stand up. I said, Dad, man, I'm not in the mood, dude. I'm not in the mood to stand up. I'm going to listen to you sitting down. He pushed me to stand up, so I stood up. And he says to me, he goes, why did you fail? No, why did you fail? And I was like, Dad, I don't know. Can you tell me? I'm just not in the mood, man. And my dad said something truly profound. He said, son, you failed because you have no soldiers in your army. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? What's this Confucius crap? What are you talking about? And my dad points to my bookcase and he goes, son, on your bookcase, you've got 4 books there that you haven't even read. Son, listen to me and listen to me clearly. Son, every time you read a book, that author now stands behind you in an army. They become a soldier in your army, willing to fight for any battle you call him or her to fight for. Son, one of the reasons you've kept failing in this life is you built an online business. How many soldiers do you have fighting for this battle in the online space? 0. And my dad gave me his credit card, which had about a $2,500 limit on it, which was a lot. And he said, build your damn army. This is only for building soldiers. I share this with you because if you're struggling with your communication skills right now, it's not because you're not capable. It's not because you can't. It's simply because you don't know how. That's all. Don't let self-doubt rob you of the incredible experiences this life has to offer. Don't let self-doubt rob you of all the potential you have within. And if you choose for me to be one of your soldiers, if you choose for me to be one of the people in your army, I promise I'll serve you well. My entire team here is here to help serve you in the realm and arena of communication. I'll help you sharpen this axe. I'm excited to begin the journey with you, luminaries, for those of you who are ready. I can't wait to see you inside the stage programs. Thank you so much for joining me. And Dan, do you want to just wave back there? Dan's just in the back there. Dan's just got to do a quick wave, and that's enough of Dan. Hey, everyone. Take care, and don't forget, use your voice to spread more love, to spread more kindness and compassion. These ripples of change will change the world. Here's a quote from Steve Jobs as we conclude. Those people who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world, they are the people who actually do. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining me live. We'll see you in class.